My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 551 Adam's Reputation Crisis. Medical Center. Cafeteria. Adam's words made George silent. She may not regret it, George said bitterly. Maybe, Adam nodded, but you can't deny that she may regret it. She is still a boy or girl, and her mind is not yet determined. What she likes extremely today may be something she hates extremely tomorrow. Can you guarantee that she won't regret it? People's hearts are fickle, and this is no joke. Then we should do nothing, Liz said reluctantly. We are just doctors, responsible for professional matters, and we are just tools. Adam shook his head and said, the rest of the rights and consequences of life choices should be decided by the patients themselves and their families, and we cannot interfere. Without this principle, big problems will arise sooner or later. Let's go back to Beth's case. Communicate well with her parents and remove the real cause of the disease, the lymph node tumor. Whether to do a heart-changing surgery, wait until Beth is an adult and let her decide for herself. What's the hurry? George was stunned, but Beth is very confused. Please, Adam complained. There are many things that confuse boys and girls. They should be properly guided and let time heal. Many things will be very funny when you look back on them when you grow up. Okay, George, listen to Adam. Liz was convinced and advised. I think he is right. There is no need to rush to decide whether to do or not to do a heart-changing surgery. This decision can be left to Beth herself when she is an adult. Okay. George smiled bitterly. He finally acted like a man for once, and he even impulsively contradicted Dr. Montgomery for this. He thought it was for Beth's good, but it seemed like a joke. The impulse was lonely. Haha. Adam couldn't help but laugh. What are you laughing at? Liz was puzzled. I'm laughing at you guys. Adam shook his head and said, others' internships for residency training are mainly to improve their skills, but you, George, and Meredith seem to be mainly improving your character. I really don't know what to say. Liz and George's faces turned black, and they were both offended. But when they met Adam's eyes, they had nothing to say, because the three of them did have their own problems, many of which were not technical problems, but mental problems. Other interns rarely had such problems. Christina almost didn't have any. Adam was even more perfect, but think about it. It's understandable. Adam smiled and said, you three are very talented in medicine. People with talent naturally have temper and their own persistence, which makes them stand out from the crowd. What about you and Christina? Liz couldn't help but sneer. Don't you have talent? Adam smiled and said nothing. In his opinion, Liz and the other three were half-baked. Other interns were not as talented as them, so they naturally kept a low profile and didn't dare to break the rules. Adam and Christina, on the other hand, were far more talented than their peers. They had the mentality of an excellent doctor, and naturally, like those interns with less talent, they would not break the rules. Only the three of them were neither good nor bad, with unstable mentality, and always causing trouble. Adam. At this time, Meredith ran over and asked breathlessly, do you know the island language? Yes. Adam nodded. Great, follow me. Meredith took Adam and walked to the ward. There is a female patient from the island country. We can't communicate with her. There seems to be a problem with her translation. Is there a problem with the translation? Adam asked in surprise. Yeah, Meredith said as she walked. This patient is Yumi Miyazaki, 22 years old, and she keeps hiccuping. I injected her with 50 milliliters of sedatives. After a while, she started hiccuping again. Dr. Bailey asked me to arrange for her to have an esophageal X-ray scan, and found that there was a crack in her esophagus, which must be repaired by surgery immediately. But her translator, who is also her coach, said that she will participate in the Taste of New York eating contest this afternoon. It seems that he is not going to tell her the truth and wants her to continue to participate in the competition. A big eater? Adam grinned. You want to continue to participate in the competition even though your esophagus is torn? You really want money over life. This kind of profession wastes food and harms health, and it should be banned. I heard that she is a professional player. Meredith smiled. It seems that she is as popular as a TV star in the island country. Outside the ward. Where are you going? Meredith stopped a man and woman from the island country. We have something else to do, the male coach said perfunctorily. Does Miss Miyazaki know about her condition? Meredith asked. She knows, the male coach said affirmatively, and then said a few words to Miyazaki Yumi. The patient Miyazaki Yumi nodded to Meredith. See, the male coach said, and was about to help Miyazaki Yumi leave. You are not talking about the condition. Adam stopped them, smiled and talked directly to the patient Miyazaki Yumi in the island language. What? The patient Miyazaki Yumi heard it and directly spoke the soul language. Yumi, listen to me. The male coach was exposed, but he was not panicked. He said in a deep voice, this afternoon's game is related to your professional career. We must participate. Indeed. Adam smiled and said in the island language, your esophagus has been torn. If you don't have surgery immediately, but still participate in this kind of competition, the risk of your esophagus being directly torn by food is very high. At that time, not only will your life be in danger, but it will also be difficult to eat normally in the future, not to mention wanting to participate in any professional competitions. Do you want this? Tooth-destroying, the patient Miyazaki Yumi screamed directly. Adam's mouth twitched. Meredith, who didn't understand the island language, also looked over with a strange look. Many doctors and nurses in the corridor did the same thing as her. Although they didn't understand the island language, this island language was too famous. A woman from an island country shouted this sentence to the famous Dr. Duncan in public. Countless action art films flashed through their minds. For a moment, the male medical staff looked around uncomfortably and coughed. The female medical staff's face turned red. It was nothing else. The specialty of the island country was really awesome. So, Miss Miyazaki is going to give up the competition and have surgery? Adam could only suppress the MMP in his heart and maintain a professional smile. Yes, the patient Yumi Miyazaki nodded. Mr. Coach, you heard me. Adam looked at the male coach with an ugly face and said in English, Miss Miyazaki chose to have surgery. I see. I will contact the organizer of the competition. The male coach and Yumi Miyazaki looked at each other for a while, sighed, turned and left. Everyone has a fluke mentality. Although the male coach and Yumi Miyazaki usually have the same interests, but at this moment, compared to Yumi Miyazaki, who has no way out and may ruin her life once she participates in the competition, the male coach bears much less risk. Even if he loses a star player, he can bow, apologize, and turn around to train the next one. The butt determines the head. Chapter 552 Nurses Strike Medical Center. Emergency Room. Nurses Station. Dr. Duncan, the most understanding nurse, who was whispering with other nurses, saw Adam coming over and immediately came over. Violent. What are you talking about? Adam said casually. The nurses are going to strike collectively. The most understanding nurse quietly broke the news. Nurses are going to strike collectively. Adam was surprised and said, are they really going to start? When? This rumor has been circulating in the medical center for a while. The reason is that the nurses are overwhelmed. Almost everyone has to work overtime for 40 hours a week. Adding the original 40 hours a week, it is equivalent to 80 hours a week. Forget about having 2 days off a week. If you work 6 days a week, it will take more than 13 hours a day, which is extremely intense. This is not an intern like Adam who can get a high salary after enduring this period. There is almost no room for advancement for nurses. The overtime pay is meager. Overtime is just a waste of time. The key is that the hospital is unwilling to hire enough nurses and arrange shifts reasonably, and deliberately squeezes the nurses. The head nurses have also conveyed the opinions of the nurses below. Unfortunately, according to the nurses, the hospital leadership, those high-ranking doctors, are too arrogant and do not pay any attention to their reasonable demands. And they do not think that the work of nurses is irreplaceable. Therefore, it is delayed again and again. The power of a single nurse is not worth mentioning. However, there is a terrible organization in all walks of life in the United States, the union. When dissatisfaction accumulates to a certain extent, the union will organize registered members to do a collective vote, that is, a collective strike, to force the capitalists to make concessions. Nurses naturally have their own nurses' union, and almost all nurses will join the nurses' union. When the union is launched, even if some nurses are unwilling to strike and affect the care of their patients, they dare not be traitors under the rolling trend and can only join. If you say a collective strike, then go on a collective strike, not one less. Well, the official documents of the union have been printed and handed over to the dean by the head nurse. The most understanding little nurse said, "The time is set for 10 days later. This strike cannot be silent and go on strike, otherwise, the hospital will not have any preparation time and will be paralyzed directly, which will lead to an irreversible disaster." What goal do you want to achieve? Adam had a headache. Hospitals cannot do without nurses, otherwise, doctors would have to do the tedious, dirty and tiring work. For doctors, this is definitely a nightmare. For Adam, if the nurses all went on strike, it would definitely affect his first goal of curing diseases, saving lives and increasing life expectancy. The union has calculated it. The most understanding little nurse explained, if we want to achieve the goal of reasonable working hours, reasonable wages, the hospital needs to add 40 nurses, which requires an investment of $2 million per year. Alas, Adam sighed. 40 nurses and $2 million investment are simply a drop in the bucket for a large hospital like the medical center. This money can be squeezed out from any corner. But Adam knew that this demand would not be so easy to achieve. First of all, capitalists are all penny pinching. Second, easily giving in would also encourage the ambitions of the nurses' union, and it would be endless. A tug of war is inevitable. Adam can easily come up with the money, but it is impossible for him to do so. It's still the old saying, a little bit of rice brings gratitude, a big bit of rice brings resentment. This is different from Adam's donation of laboratories and security equipment. Once Adam intervenes, the nurses may be grateful at first, but people's desires are constantly increasing, not to mention that there is a monster called the nurses' union watching behind them. The staff of the union are all supported by registered members. At the beginning, it was indeed to protect the interests of the members, but when it expands to a certain extent, they can also oppress the members in turn, use the members to fight with the capitalists, and collect a lot of profits. Even if the members know that doing so will damage the interests of the entire company or even the entire industry, and then damage their own future, they can only follow the union into the abyss. Don't act together, just wait to be attacked and assassinated. Many of the industry unions in the United States later became semi-public black organizations and industry cancers, which is no joke. If they knew that Adam, a billionaire doctor, was willing to give this money, after a while, the union might continue to agitate and ask for a pay raise again. If you give it the first time and don't want to give it in the future, how will the nurses look at you? Adam knows that it will never be gratitude. Human nature is selfish. He came to work, to cure diseases, save lives and prolong life, so it doesn't matter if he doesn't get paid. But not only does he pay so much money to the hospital every year, but he doesn't get any gratitude. What's going on? Dr. Duncan. They will block the entrance of the hospital and call on doctors to join them. The most understanding nurse reminded, if the doctors ignore it and continue to walk into the hospital, they will throw things at people. Oh, and there is also the old friends bar. Nurses go on strike collectively during the day and most of them go there to drink at night. It is easy to conflict with doctors after drinking. You should also pay attention to this. There are hundreds of people, all kinds of people. Some nurses with big arms and waists and strong bodies have a temper that is more explosive than men. It is normal for them to make trouble after drinking during the strike. It's a mess. Adam said helplessly, I'm a doctor. Although I support you in fighting for reasonable rights, I won't stop working for this. Don't even think about asking him to stop increasing his life for such a thing. I know. The most understanding nurse apologized. I can only guarantee that our young female nurses won't throw things at you, but I can't guarantee that for some older nurses and some male nurses. It's okay. Adam thought about it and smiled. At worst, I won't go home for a few days and just live in the hospital. Anyway, I only sleep a few hours every day when I go back, work during the day and cook at night. Under normal circumstances, Adam doesn't go back until the early morning and comes here at 5 in the morning. It's really not a few hours. But the conditions here, the most understanding nurse worriedly said, it's definitely not as good as home. It doesn't matter. Adam smiled. 10 days is enough. I will directly rent an extra room next to Dr. Alice Gray and clean it up. The conditions won't be much different. Sure enough, nothing can bother you, Dr. Duncan. The most understanding nurse showed an admiring look. Violent. Thank you for telling me these things. Adam smiled. Otherwise I really don't know the twists and turns here. This is what I should do. The most understanding nurse smiled sweetly. This. Adam pondered and said, Violent. Are you interested in being a surgical nurse? Although it is very tiring, you don't have much contact with patients and their families, so you have fewer worries and can learn a lot. You are more professional and more difficult to be replaced, and the income is also considerable. I'm interested. The most understanding young nurse's eyes lit up. I'm not afraid of being tired, and I also want to learn more. Maybe I can go into the operating room with Dr. Duncan in the future. Haha. I'm looking forward to it. What Adam admired most was the cleverness of the most understanding young nurse, who understood things at a glance. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 553. National Curse Rises Again. 10 days have passed in a flash. Medical Center. At the entrance, reasonable working hours, reasonable wages, reasonable working hours, reasonable wages, reasonable working hours, reasonable wages. The nurses in the hospital went on strike collectively, standing on both sides of the entrance, holding up protest signs, and shouting rhythmically under the leadership of the organizers of the nurses' union. In addition to the reasonable working hours, reasonable wages they kept shouting, there were also various protest signs, such as support nurses, nurses are necessary, cannot cross the picket line, etc. This picket line is a red line drawn by the striking nurses, just like the 38th parallel that Adam and his desk mate drew when they were children in their previous life, which is a means of distinguishing between enemies and friends. It's just that the 38th parallel is only one line. The picket line is a lot of lines, covering almost all the entrances and exits of the hospital, leaving you no way to avoid it. If you support the nurses, don't cross the picket red line. That is to join the strike in disguise. On the contrary, if you are against the nurses, you are the enemy. This is also an old tradition of various protests in the United States. Who supports? Who opposes? Are you a passerby who doesn't support or oppose? How dare you? If you don't support, you are against it. If you are against it, you are the enemy. There is no middle ground. It's so domineering. The guard stood aside, ready to control the violent conflict at any time. Damn it, what Adam said is true. Christina and Liz shook off the things that were hit on their bodies and walked into the hospital. I told you a long time ago. Adam came over and said with a smile, you don't care. We support them, Liz said angrily. How dare they do this to us? They don't think so. Adam smiled and said, although doctors and nurses are partners, their interests are in conflict. The profit distribution of the hospital in a year is relatively fixed. Doctors get more and nurses get less. The key ratio is still so different. You say you support nurses, but you don't take any action. If you were a nurse, what would you think? Liz was speechless and muttered, this is a decision made by the hospital, not for us doctors to decide. Human nature is selfish. Adam shook his head. How many people can be rational in the face of interests? You say doctors can't make decisions? Really? If the doctors really support the nurses and join the strike together, the hospital will be paralyzed directly, and the possibility of winning the strike will be greatly increased and accelerated. Or the doctors will directly cut their salaries and use the money saved to either hire more nurses to reduce working hours, or increase the overtime pay of the original nurses. Why? Liz blurted out. Is that so? Adam said with a smile. Why should you sacrifice your own interests to support others? So it's reasonable for them not to recognize your verbal support. It's impossible to reduce your own salary. Most people work so hard to become doctors, and they do it for the high income and high status of doctors. As for joining the strike together, other famous doctors have no problem. If interns like Liz and others who are dispensable really do this, they will annoy the leadership and kick you out of the hospital in a minute, and they will also write a heavy note on your medical file. Don't even think about getting into the medical field in the future. You still have so many student loans on your back, and if you can't pay them back, your credit will go bankrupt. In a credit society like the United States, without credit points, you can hardly find a job. If you can't find a job, you will become poorer and can't pay off your previous debts. In a vicious cycle, most of them will become homeless and lie down like salted fish. There are so many homeless people in the United States, and not every homeless person wants to live like this by eating social welfare. Many people enter a vicious cycle after an economic crisis or bankruptcy, and they can't get out of it. There is no chance to fight again. They are also a group of people who are always miserable. Then why don't you support them? Liz complained. I am the same as you. I only support them verbally. Adam smiled and said, but I don't expect them to agree with my way of support. Don't you see that I live directly in a hospital and I am not going to leave until the strike is over? As long as I don't appear in front of them, there won't be so many troubles. I won't go back either. Christina nodded and said, it's just staying in the hospital all the time. What's the big deal? And I don't want to go back. Isn't it ideal to live with Dr. Burke? Adam teased. Christina rolled her eyes and was too lazy to respond. Dr. Burke was too quick. Before anything happened, he directly proposed to live together, and he looked sad, saying, you don't want to. It breaks my heart. Christina took Dr. Burke to her doghouse directly, trying to dispel Dr. Burke's idea of living together. That's right, it's a real doghouse. She never washes clothes. When they are dirty, she just throws them in the apartment and then buys new clothes to wear. As for why she had the money to buy new clothes directly, she was unwilling to hire a housemaid to help take care of the house. That was because she had hired a housemaid several times, and she was so angry that she cried and ran away. Christina, who was devoted to her career, was cold-hearted, had a very bad temper, and was mean. It was annoying to always find someone to change, so she simply stopped hiring. The apartment was full of all kinds of garbage, and it looked like a garbage dump at a glance. If you don't know, you might think she did this on purpose to retaliate against the landlord. She had revealed her cards. But who would have thought that Dr. Burke, who lived like the male protagonist of an idol drama, was stunned at first, but finally accepted her. After living together, he took care of her food, clothing, housing and transportation, and took good care of her life. The domineering president has done this. That's it. Christina still disliked it at every turn and didn't want to go home. If Christina didn't really have the beauty of a heroine, Adam really had to doubt whether she was the real heroine. Compared with Dr. Burke, Meredith's dreamy Mr. Shept, he was simply crushed in all aspects. Why bother with them? Christina glanced around. We are doctors. What we need most is to perform surgery. Other things have nothing to do with us. Anyway, the hospital has hired temporary nurses, and someone is enough to carry the bedpan. You have forgotten the pain again, Adam reminded. If this word spreads, you will be in trouble when the nurses return to their posts. Although there are temporary nurses, our work intensity will be even greater in the next few days. Why? Christina was puzzled. Because the temporary nurses are not familiar with this hospital. Adam sighed. Newbies will definitely make mistakes. More importantly, many nurses inside are still in nursing school and have not graduated yet. They basically don't know anything. Do you dare to give medical advice and just be a hands-off boss? Christina was stunned when she heard it, and directly called out the classic American saying, son of the bitch. Chapter 554 Chaos and Emergency Medical Center. It's not that exaggerated, right? Liz was also stunned. You're here before you graduate, what do you think? Adam smiled and said, almost all the nurses who have graduated and are working have joined the nurses' union. When the union organizes a strike, how can other members of the union drag their feet? And other members also have jobs. Even if they want to help, they can't. Only those scattered nurses who have not joined the union and the students of nursing school who have not graduated yet have time to come and help. This is just nonsense. Christina complained. Those who haven't graduated yet, Can they understand the medical advice we give? It depends on whether you believe them or not. Adam glanced at her and joked, does it take some professional knowledge to carry a bedpan? Christina paused. Nurses naturally cannot be compared with doctors who have studied hard for 4 years and many more years, but their own professional qualities can only be mastered after systematic learning. Not everyone can do it, that would be fatal. Damn it, Liz said with a headache. Do we have to teach temporary nurses how to do things? It's obvious. Adam sighed. That's it. The number of temporary nurses is not enough, and we have to do many things ourselves. In the past, Dr. Bailey punished you to do annual rectal examinations, and you thought he was making things difficult for you. Today, there will probably be dirtier and more tiring work than this, and it will come to you. Here, I'll give it to you. Mask? Liz took it. It's better to be careful. Adam smiled and said, it can prevent being sprayed and smelling. It's better to be prepared. By the way, where is George? He is still outside, standing outside the picket red line, and dare not step in. Christina complained. Sissy, don't say that about George. Liz defended her best friend. His father is a truck driver and his mother is a teacher. Once he is photographed crossing the picket red line, when he dies, his parents will pee on his tombstone. Puff. Adam almost burst out laughing when he heard it. The American Truck Drivers and Teachers Unions are both super large unions and are also among the most powerful organizations with the best combat effectiveness, especially the Teachers Union, which can confront the president and influence the succession. The Truck Drivers Union is no less powerful. The profession of truck driver is known as one of the 6 higher-risk professions in the United States, along with firefighters, police, etc., so the union has stronger cohesion. For example, in Fast and Furious, Bald Kayang focused on truck drivers stealing oil for a while. This angered the truck drivers union, and at a command, all truck drivers loaded their guns. When Bald Kayang went over again and tried to steal gasoline, the truck driver opened fire directly and almost killed Bald Kayang and the others. It is worth mentioning that George is an Irish boy, and the Irish Truck Drivers Union is a black organization. How could George's father not have a strong centripetal force for his own union? He's worrying for nothing. Adam laughed. It's not like the old are sending the young off, is it? Otherwise, the souls of his parents would come and pee on his tombstone after he died? Isn't that just cursing himself to die young? Who says it's not? Liz defended her, but that didn't mean she agreed with her bestie. She had to know that she was forced to come in, and she couldn't help but complain. He insisted that he was a union member. Oh, shit. As they were talking, George walked in, holding a sign that said I'm a nurse and I'm proud. Damn it, George, what are you doing? Liz shouted at her bestie. During the 1990 teachers' strike, my mother held up a sign and guarded the picket line for 48 days. George came over holding the sign, explaining to Adam and the others while also cheering himself up. I'm from the union. Then what are you doing in here? Adam asked curiously. If you want to support the nurses' protest, you can only be outside the hospital and not come in to affect the operation of the hospital. My soul is not here. George tried to cover his ears and steal the bell for a while, and whispered, Olivia and the others have some patients who need special care. Although they have to do this, they can't bear to see the patients suffer. Olivia. It turned out that she was the one who instigated you. Liz got furious when she heard it. She threw donuts at me and yelled at me to carry the bedpan myself. George, how can you be friends with someone who treats me like this? You scolded her too, and let her enjoy the aphrodisiac. George comforted, and she didn't instigate me to do this. I wanted to do it myself. Aren't you afraid of being fired? Adam warned. You are the only doctor who has stepped forward, and you are an intern. Be careful that you will be killed as an example. George's face twitched, and he was obviously afraid of this. Eva Jenkins in pediatric room 4114 needs to change her dressing, and she is easily frightened. You can sing the alphabet song or other nursery rhymes, and she will not be afraid. O'Brien in ward 2412 will panic if you don't visit her once an hour. And the patient in ward 2923. Stop. Adam interrupted George's series of words. What are you doing? I can't stay here. These are patients that the nurses need special care. I can only leave them to you. George hurriedly explained. "Hey, where are you going?" "See you later, I have something else to do." Adam and Christina left after saying a word. "Just kidding. These nursing jobs are obviously unskilled, time-consuming and torturous. Adam and Christina would be stupid to take on this." "Liz?" George smiled at Liz, the only one left. "You are my good friend. Can you help me with these patients?" "Do you want me to help you?" Liz smiled. "Yes." George nodded repeatedly, looking around, afraid to see the chief of surgery. "You wish," Liz said bitterly. "I told you to come in with me, but you didn't listen and got together with Olivia. Now you want me to help you complete Olivia's task. Go to hell." Adam walked past a ward. Langley, is that you?" An old woman with gray hair, lying on the bed, looked at the open door and shouted with difficulty, "Are you okay, ma'am?" Adam glanced at the empty corridor without a nurse, and had to walk in. Langley, the old woman repeated a name with rapid breathing. Adam saw something was wrong and wanted to look through her medical records, but there was no record. The nurses went on strike, so there was naturally chaos in the handover of medical records. "Does anyone remember that there is an old woman who is about to die?" "OMG, is she going to die?" When Adam was resolute in rescuing her, a very young temporary nurse ran in. When she saw this situation, she was shocked. "Give me a size 7.5 tube, I want to intubate her." Adam gave an order, and seeing that the other party was still a little confused, he cursed inwardly, and could only run out quickly to get the equipment, and then quickly ran back to intubate the old woman who had stopped breathing. P.S. Thank you for the reward. Chapter 555, Taking Advantage of Your Seniority. Medical Center. In the ward, Adam intubated the old woman who had stopped breathing. The temporary nurse stood by in a daze. "You haven't graduated yet?" After successfully rescuing the old woman, Adam looked at the young temporary nurse. "Yeah," the temporary nurse said embarrassedly. "Is she saved?" "Yeah." Adam nodded. "Great." The temporary nurse shouted happily, and then stopped awkwardly under Adam's gaze. But she remembered that she didn't help at all, and she should have helped. "Can you do me a favor?" Adam didn't blame her, but smiled. A student who hasn't graduated yet, who encounters life and death rescue right away, will be silly and confused, which is actually normal. Yeah. The temporary nurse nodded repeatedly without asking. "Help me take care of her." Adam smiled and pointed at the old woman who was breathing steadily. "Call me if you have any questions. My name is Adam Duncan." "Okay." The temporary nurse agreed immediately, and waited until Adam walked out of the ward before she mustered up the courage to say to Adam's back, "My name is Zoe." An hour later. "Zoe, what's the situation?" Adam received the call and came to check on the old woman's condition. He found that the secretary of the chief of surgery was also there. "Jesse, you are here too." Temporary nurse Zoe was happy that Adam remembered her name, but also felt guilty for causing some trouble to Adam because she found the old woman's medical records. "Dr. Duncan, did you intubate her?" Chief Secretary Jesse looked at Adam helplessly. "Yes." Adam nodded. "She has respiratory arrest. I have to intubate her for emergency treatment. Is there any problem?" "Dr. Duncan, you asked me to take care of her. I saw that her medical records were not here, so I went to look for them. And it took a long time to find them." Temporary nurse Zoe looked apologetic. "Mrs. Bickham was diagnosed with advanced chronic lung disease and lives in a hospice." Chief Secretary Jesse explained. "Give up rescue and give up CPR." In the United States, hospices and other end-of-life care institutions usually give up rescue and let patients die naturally for the comfort of their patients. "Oh," Adam suddenly realized. "You intubated Grace." He intubated Grace. He intubated Grace. At this time, 3 old ladies came in from outside. When they heard the news, they were more excited than the other. "You idiot, you should let her die." One of the tall old ladies directly threw a shoulder bag at Adam from behind, cursing. "Ma'am, don't get excited." Adam moved his body and easily avoided the sneak attack. He faced the 3 old ladies and frowned, saying, "The patient's medical records are not here." "I didn't know." "You didn't know?" The tall old woman didn't hit him, but she almost sprained her waist, which showed how much force she used. Seeing this, she angrily cursed. "You dare to hide? Let's talk it over." Adam said calmly, "I saw the patient dying without knowing it. As a doctor, I immediately rescued her. What's the problem? She said she didn't want to be put on a ventilator, said an old woman. You should have let her die peacefully, said another old woman. Who asked you to save her? The tall old woman who attacked cursed. Mind your own business, Jesse. Adam didn't bother to pay attention to them and looked at the chief secretary. Don't get excited. Dr. Duncan didn't know about it either. Chief Secretary Jesse said with a headache, you should have known when you came in that the nurses in our hospital are on strike, and there was a problem with the handover of medical records. I don't care, the tall old lady said irritably. He intubated Grace, against Grace's wishes, and he must apologize. Dr. Duncan? Chief Secretary Jesse looked at Adam, and her eyes indicated that it was better to have less trouble than more trouble. Excuse me, who are you? The patient. Adam didn't answer, but looked at the three old ladies and asked expressionlessly. In normal times, he would definitely apologize directly based on the principle of less trouble than more trouble. After all, he did a good deed with bad intentions. And he also received a plus 0.01 system reward. But the attitude of the tall old lady, regardless of anything, beating and scolding, and asking Adam to apologize, even Adam, who has always been good-tempered, can't accept it. This is not a joke. We are Grace's friends. An old lady said, do you think there is something wrong with me saving people without knowing it? Adam said in a deep voice, or should I choose to stand by and watch when the patient is dying and I don't know whether she has signed a DNR? Do not resuscitate agreement? This. After the other two old ladies got over the initial shock, they also realized that they couldn't blame Adam, and they couldn't help but hesitate. You should have known. The tall old woman didn't care and directly said, this is your responsibility. Grace doesn't want to be rescued, so you can't rescue her. You must apologize if you do something wrong, otherwise, I will sue you. There is no room for negotiation. Adam spread his hands and said, you are not the patient's family members. You can contact the patient's family members first. Now the patient is still in a coma. As long as the family members agree, she can still be euthanized. As for suing me, this is the contact information of my private lawyer. You can send the lawyer's letter directly to him. He will handle it. It's not good to always take money and not do anything. Any other questions? As soon as these words came out, the air suddenly became quiet. Even the tall and bad-tempered old woman was stunned. In the United States, family private doctors are very common. After all, people are bound to encounter disasters, but not everyone has a private lawyer. In ordinary families, who has nothing to do and always has a lawyer, either a troubled family or a wealthy family, and judging from Adam's expression, it is clearly the second type that is the hardest to mess with. The tall old woman with a bad temper did not respect Adam, a young doctor, at first, and felt that she was right. She wanted to take advantage of her seniority and vent her anger for her old sister, so she hit the culprit a few times to vent her anger. She didn't dare to say anything to Adam, a young doctor. When she saw Adam dodge and almost hurt her old waist, she became even more angry. She had to ask Adam for an explanation, but now, she suddenly calmed down. Years of life experience told her that it is better to be harmonious. It seems that there is no problem. Adam nodded expressionlessly. Zoe, the patient's family has arrived. Notify me. After that, he left directly. Yanis, should we contact Grace's daughter Alice? An old woman reminded in a low voice. That's right. Another old lady agreed. If there is anything, let Alice make the decision. She is Grace's daughter, even though she is a lesbian. The doctor did nothing wrong. Seeing that the tall old lady was embarrassed, the two old ladies advised, he doesn't know. Isn't it right to save people? Yanis, if your daughter and granddaughter encounter this situation, don't you want the doctor to ignore everything and save them first? Bah! The tall old lady cursed. Don't curse my daughter and granddaughter. Seeing that the atmosphere was easing, the chief secretary Jesse also came over and said a few words. After implicitly reminding Adam that he was not just a young doctor, the atmosphere became better. The tall old lady realized that she might not have caused trouble for her daughter and granddaughter, and wondered whether she should apologize to Adam. The world is so beautiful, but I am so irritable. This is not good. Chapter 556. Doctor Strange calls the Center for Expert Medicine. At night, The patient's daughter arrived and signed the authorization to cancel the ventilator without any trouble. This was her mother's wish. She also didn't think there was anything wrong with Adam saving her mother without knowing it. I will inject her with the sedative first, which can relieve her discomfort, and then I can remove the intubation. Adam stood in front of the bed, took the authorization agreement, and looked at them. Are you ready? Yes. The patient's daughter nodded with tears in her eyes. Adam was about to inject the patient with a sedative. Wait. The patient's daughter called for a stop. Adam stopped steadily. Goodbye, Mom. The patient's daughter leaned over and kissed the patient on the forehead to say goodbye. Are you ready? Adam had to repeat it again. After the patient's daughter nodded, he looked at her for a few seconds, then injected the sedative, turned off the monitor, and removed the intubation. How long will it take? The patient's daughter asked with tears in her eyes. Wait a while, Adam said gently. After waiting for a while, Adam checked the patient's heartbeat and pulse, nodded to the patient's daughter, and announced, time of death 8:23. After that, he left the ward. In the corridor, Christina, Liz, George, and Meredith were half-leaning on the stretcher again, each with a complicated expression. What happened? Was he boiled? Adam laughed and teased. You were almost boiled, right? Christina rolled her eyes at him. Why, the famous Dr. Duncan is also threatened by a woman to sue. Your charm is ineffective? Haha. Adam smiled, did not continue, and directly changed the subject. Did you perform a flesh-eating disease operation today? It is normal that he is not favored by the teacher. After all, he is not Leonard. Speaking of this, I get angry. Christina sat up straight and looked at Adam. Dr. Zlang was your resident doctor before. Now Bailey has taken leave to protect the fetus. So Dr. Zlang is also in charge of us. It's a disaster. Not really? Adam smiled and said, Zuni is a very nice person. She is much easier to get along with than Dr. Bailey. That's the problem, Christina complained. We are interns. We follow the resident doctor to learn skills, not to play the game of hello, I am good, everyone is good with her. What kind of loving treatment is simply unreasonable? Did you have a conflict? Adam asked curiously. No, Christina said coldly. I just don't agree with her surgical plan. The patient has flesh-eating disease and the leg is infected quickly. The correct approach is to amputate immediately to prevent blood infection and cause the patient's death. But she was emotional and insisted on removing all the flesh-eating bacteria first. This is taking the patient's life at risk. She also asked Dr. Burke to inspect. Meredith added faintly, no way. Adam looked at Christina in disbelief. You asked your boyfriend to pressure Gzuni? Did Gzuni get mad? Questioning the chief surgeon in the operating room is already a taboo. Not to mention that an intern asked his attending boyfriend to question his superior chief surgeon. This is simply crossing the bottom line. Any chief surgeon with dignity would get mad. Of course she got mad. Meredith interrupted again. She directly scolded Dr. Burke, leaving Dr. Burke speechless and leaving the operating room. I'm just worried about the patient's life, Christina said stubbornly. The patient is a marathon runner. If his limb is amputated, even if he survives, it will be very painful. Meredith retorted, Dr. Sheeran's treatment plan is correct. After consulting the patient and her new husband, he chose to eliminate as many flesh-eating cells as possible first. If the infection continues, he will amputate. If we really wait until then, the patient might have died long ago. Christina shouted unconvinced. Isn't our first priority as surgeons to ensure the patient's survival? Of course not. Adam shook his head. Our first priority as doctors is to keep the patient alive as much as possible while respecting the patient's choice. The results also prove Dr. Sheeran's choice. Meredith smiled. She stood there performing the operation for 8 hours straight, and finally successfully cleared all the flesh-eating cells, saving the patient's life and also saving the patient's leg. Now Dr. Burke asked Christina to apologize to Dr. Sheeran. This time it was a rare event with incredible luck. What about next time? Christina said unhappily. The issue now is not whether your treatment plan is right or wrong, Adam reminded. Of course you can keep your opinion, but after the senior surgeon made clear the surgical plan, you shouldn't find someone to put pressure on the senior surgeon. Not to mention that the person you found is your boyfriend. It's just that Zuni has a good temper, otherwise, Any other doctor would definitely make a big deal out of it and make you and Dr. Burke embarrassed. You should apologize. I admit that my behavior was a bit impulsive. Christina was silent for a moment, and said stubbornly, but I still think my treatment plan is correct. No, you are wrong. Adam shook his head and said, remember the patient who rushed with a photo magazine of female Dr. Liz, and finally wanted to be castrated and didn't want Liz to get close to him? Remember. Why? Christina was stunned. Who is the surgeon? Adam reminded. What is his nickname? Why is he given that nickname? As a chief surgeon, why can't he get the respect of junior doctors? And even interns dare to refute and contradict him. Christina was stunned. The surgeon was Dr. Victor, an old doctor nicknamed Ron Mayan. His famous saying is young people like to try their luck with cancer. But when I am my age, I know that I have to be more efficient. His one trick is to cut cleanly, no matter whether the nerves are good or not. As long as they are close to the cancerous area, they will be cut cleanly and easily. But the price is that many patients who could have a certain quality of life have completely lost their quality of life and are living a life worse than death. The patient who was almost castrated, at the strong request of Liz, even the very rule-abiding Dr. Bailey chose to disobey, and drove Ron Mayan away. The DIY surgery preserved those nerves, so that the patient can still stand up in the future. Afterwards, even though he knew that the risk of recurrence was much greater than originally expected, the patient still thanked Liz and the others profusely. Christina, a one-size-fits-all approach is indeed the most effective way. Adam said earnestly, your scalpel can indeed save more people, but you can't completely ignore their quality of life after surgery. And if you choose a one-size-fits-all approach, aren't you also becoming relative, giving into more difficult surgeries that require both life-saving and post-operative quality? Then, if you gradually develop a situation where you are not certain, you will not take surgeries, and only take surgeries that you are sure of, pursuing the false reputation of 100% cure. P.S. There is only this one chapter at noon, and the rest will be updated in the evening. Please forgive me. As for whether there is one or two updates in the evening, it shouldn't matter, right? After all, there are probably not many people reading novels tonight. I wish all the big guys who are having fun in the presidential suite a happy Christmas Eve, and don't worry about the poor author who is still typing. I'm fine. Chapter 557, Famous Doctors Representation, Medical Center. That's different, Christina muttered. But her eyes revealed that she was convinced. She didn't want to be soft, nor did she want to be Doctor Strange. Go and apologize to Xuni. Adam smiled and said, I promise she won't embarrass you. Christina didn't refute it again. She also knew that she was wrong, especially her boyfriend, Dr. Burke, who just sat there sadly and said to her, I didn't know what the problem was with dating an intern before, but now I finally know. In all these years of practicing medicine, I have never questioned any doctor in the operating room. Never. She naturally heard the unfinished meaning in his words. I have never been treated like this. For a successful top doctor, this is definitely an unprecedented humiliation. But, what can be done? He was indeed wrong. He shouldn't let their feelings interfere with his decision at work. But he was the attending physician, and even if he was wrong, he didn't have to apologize to the junior resident. But he asked her to do so because she was a junior intern. Now that Adam and the others said so, she was not going to be stubborn. Liz, I heard that you and Dr. Montgomery did an exit surgery. That's cool. Adam looked at Liz with a complicated expression. Yeah, Liz smiled in a low mood. The patient was an African-American girl who got pregnant before marriage. The fetus had a tumor on its head, which caused excessive amniotic fluid and obstructed the airway and spinal cord. The exit surgery is to perform a cesarean section first, let the fetus come out halfway, pull out the head and arms, and keep the rest of the body in the mother's body without cutting the umbilical cord first. Because the tumor on the fetus's head prevents air from entering the lungs, the mother's umbilical cord is needed to continue to maintain the fetus life. After the tumor removal surgery is completed, the umbilical cord will be cut. Imagine the fetus being lifted out halfway, with its hands on the mother's belly, eyes closed, as if in a trance, and the lower half of its body still in the mother's womb. maintaining this posture for a long time. It is really mysterious and a little weird. Of course, it also reflects the greatness of the mother. This kind of surgery is still very rare. Don't tell me the details. Adam didn't want to ask Liz why she was sad again. Anyway, he didn't want to miss the details of the rare surgery. What is there to say? Liz forced a smile. After we talked about the surgical plan, we asked them how they felt about it. The patient, Miss Woods's mother, said directly that it sounded complicated and expensive, and she looked like she didn't want to do it. She is very insightful. Adam smiled. The more complicated and rare the surgery in the hospital, the more expensive it is. Isn't the health of her daughter and granddaughter the most important? Liz retorted. She didn't want to do it, and wanted to leave immediately, saying that she didn't want to miss work time again. I know that life is not easy, but at this time, shouldn't we focus on the most important things? Haha. Adam smiled and shook his head. What you said shows that you don't know what the real difficulty of life is. You may think you know, but you don't know. In Dream of the Red Chamber, when Granny Liu entered the Rongo mansion, it was because she really couldn't make ends meet. If she didn't find a way to make ends meet, she would really starve to death. When she met Sister Feng, she heard Sister Feng say that the Jia family looked magnificent on the outside, but it was actually very difficult on the inside. Granny Liu smiled and said, "We know how difficult it is, but a lean camel is bigger than a horse. Even a hair of yours is thicker than our waists." Then Fengji gave her 20 taels of silver and told her to take it if she didn't think it was too little. She also said that it was originally intended to make clothes for the maids. Granny Liu was almost knocked out by this unexpected good news. She had heard Fengji complaining about her family's difficulties and thought there was no hope. Who knew she would get 20 taels of silver the next day? 20 taels of silver is enough for their family of 4 to live for a whole year. One is that they will starve to death without it. The other is that they will have to make less clothes for the maids and eat less meals. It is indeed very difficult. The key is that Fengji did not lie. She really felt that the Jia family had been poor for many years, and they still had to rely on her for dowry subsidies. It was indeed very difficult. Liz kept saying, she knows the patient's mother has a hard life and has to go to work. It made Adam feel like Fengji and Liu Lao said, "I know, everyone has a hard time." No one lied. But it was completely different. An underage African-American girl was going to be a single mother. Her single mother was worried that the surgery was too complicated and expensive, but she didn't want to miss any time from work. It was too real. If she didn't make money, who would raise her daughter and granddaughter? Who would pay for the various bills in the hospital? American hospitals are not charities. If you can't afford the surgery, no matter what your situation is, you will be thoughtfully arranged to be discharged or transferred. Where can you be transferred to? You still have to go home and fend for yourself. I really know, Liz said unconvinced. Whether you know it or not, she always agreed to her daughter's surgery, right? Adam interrupted. That's because Dr. Montgomery waived her surgery fee, Liz shouted. Is that so? Adam laughed when he heard it. As a newly introduced top doctor, Dr. Montgomery has the best personal benefits. Not just the beautifully decorated office, it also includes Dr. Montgomery's face. That's right, Americans also value face. Famous doctors like Dr. Montgomery have the right to waive a certain amount of patient fees every year, which is to give Dr. Montgomery face. Think about it, such an expensive surgery fee, it is waived for you. When the doctor smiles, you are one step from hell to heaven. Isn't it awesome? Isn't it very impressive? Patients and their families see such a doctor, it's like seeing God. As a mortal doctor, do you feel a sense of satisfaction in your heart? Of course you do. If it weren't for this, I don't know if she would agree to the operation. Liz pouted. No. Adam smiled and said, even if the fee is not waived, even if she complains that it's too expensive, I believe she will agree in the end. I believe it too. Meredith agreed. I believe it too. George raised his hand. Don't look at me. Christina half leaned on the trolley thinking about something. Seeing Liz and the others looking at her, she shrugged and said, Mother's love is the greatest. Nothing wrong. Let's go. The strike outside has temporarily stopped. Let's go to the old friend bar to have a drink together, Meredith suggested. No. Adam shook his head. Until the matter is over, I plan to stay in the hospital and save more people. The level of temporary nurses is really worrying. Then let's go. Meredith pulled Christina and the others out. I advise you not to go, Adam reminded. The nurses are all over there now to prevent conflicts after drinking. Of course George can go. Of course, Nurse George, Christina mocked. What did you say? George immediately exploded and chased Christina to ask for an explanation. Don't look at him holding a sign that says I am a nurse and I am proud to support the nurses' strike. But whoever says he is a nurse, he will get angry. After all, he still looks down on nurses. Several people laughed and joked and left. Adam shook his head and turned to go on his rounds. Everything has two sides. The nurses are on strike, so saving lives will be much more difficult. But on the other hand, patients who originally only needed nurses to take care of them, if they were not careful under the care of temporary nurses, would likely become more seriously ill, or even be at risk of dying. Adam felt that he could do more. P.S. There is one more chapter to come. The author and the readers are all here. Chapter 558 The Magical Christmas Eve. Christina and the others came back soon. I don't want to say it, but I still have to say it. I told you a long time ago. Seeing Christina's wet lower body and her angry face, Adam couldn't help but laugh. If they hadn't stopped me, I would have killed her. Christina went into the locker room to change clothes angrily. Meredith and the others told Adam the cause and effect. It turned out that they went to the old friend's bar, just sat down at the bar, and were about to drink and chat. A female nurse brought a glass of wine with ice cubes and poured it directly into Christina's crotch. Adam, you didn't see it. Liz couldn't help laughing and said, I've never seen Christina like this before. She cursed and shook her body with her arms open, ready to be the nurse. Although the nurse was much stronger than her, she was completely suppressed by her momentum. Really? Adam reconstructed the scene at that time based on Liz's description, and laughed. Is Christina so reckless? Looking at her like this, she has also been on the streets? It should be. Liz nodded in agreement. That posture and momentum don't seem to be casually put up. In the end, there was no fight? Adam laughed. No, the bartender came out to hold and separate the people, and we took Christina away. Meredith said helplessly, what kind of thing is this? That's good. Adam nodded. After all, the old friend bar is his business, and it is for making connections in the medical field, not to cause a fight between doctors and nurses. If it weren't for this, if they were allowed to fight and spread out, it might make the bar more popular. After all, there shouldn't be too many young men like Howard who like girls fighting the most. It seems that Christina is really hated. Adam couldn't help but sigh. So many doctors went, but Christina was the only one who went and was treated like this. There was no other reason except that Christina was hated. 2 days later, the nurses' strike ended successfully. The hospital executives who represented capital compromised. The hospital returned to normal. 2 weeks passed in a flash. In the blink of an eye, tomorrow is Christmas. And tonight is the famous Christmas Eve. During the day, Adam was at work, and Robin and Lily came together and made a request to Adam that made him dumbfounded. What? Adam was stunned. What do you want me to do? My little sister Katie. Robin smiled bitterly. She said that I must be lonely here without my family, so she pestered me to buy her a plane ticket and fly over to spend Christmas with me. That's great. Adam twitched his lips. You two are really sisters. I was a little touched at first. Robin looked like she couldn't bear to say more. I'll testify. Lily interrupted. I accompanied Robin to the airport to wait for her. Robin didn't know how excited she was at that time. She kept saying that when she sent her little sister home, her little sister had a ponytail and a Hello Kitty backpack. How innocent and cute. Then what? Adam asked curiously. Then just as we were about to go up to them, Lily said reluctantly, such an innocent and lovely little sister Katie, hugged a boy's neck and showed off her French kiss in public. The image of that cute and innocent little girl collapsed in an instant. Robin was shocked and said dozens of no's in a row, but still couldn't stop it. Only later did we know that little sister Katie didn't come to spend Christmas with her sister, but to spend Christmas Eve with her boyfriend. Christmas Eve? You know, I don't understand. Adam looked confused and asked in surprise, how old is Katie? 16. She is only 16 years old. Still a child. Robin shouted, I can't believe my little sister would lose her virginity to that wretched man with a coxcomb and a long tongue tonight. No, I will never allow it. Adam, you must help me. Don't. Adam's mouth twitched. Are you sure I can help you? Of course. Robin had just said one sentence when he met Adam's strange gaze. He then reacted and hit Adam's chest hard. Disgusting. What are you thinking? I just want you to tell me your own story about how you were in high school, especially on Christmas Eve, how you cheated and played with girls like that creepy guy with a coxcomb, and how you abandoned them like garbage afterwards. Sorry. Adam shook his head and said, I really can't help you with this. When I was in high school, I was still a pure boy. I had never even held hands with a girl, let alone cheated and played with girls. What is Christmas Eve that everyone understands? By the way, what are you talking about? Christmas Eve is just the eve of Christmas Eve. What's so special about it? You are pretending. Robin's expression suddenly turned cold. You are still pretending. You are so familiar with. You were not a winner and a playboy in high school. Why are you pretending? What is he familiar with? Lily got excited all of a sudden, but after Robin glared at her coldly, she still suppressed her curiosity wisely and helped Robin to denounce Adam. That's right. Why are you pretending? Christmas Eve is the night you lose your virginity. Barney has already had a series of battle plans. Don't you know that? Ahem. Seeing the two men staring at him, Adam coughed lightly and said, well, I vaguely heard of this saying, but that's people like Barney. I really haven't done such a thing, and I don't care about this special day. Look at me. I have to work overtime to save people tonight. How can I have time to do that? If you want to find a scumbag to tell his story, Barney is definitely the first choice. He's such a scum. Robin complained. Don't even mention letting him get close to my little sister. Even if he knows about my little sister, I shudder. It's disgusting. I feel like if he knows, he can infect my little sister with a dirty disease from a distance. Then you come to me, or do you trust me? Adam didn't know whether to laugh or cry. No, Robin said seriously, I believe in my big gun. I didn't pull the trigger last time, and I've always regretted it. If you really do something that makes me hate you, this time, let's settle the old and new accounts together. Do you dare to bet whether there are bullets in my gun? I don't dare. Adam was honest. Even if he dared, he definitely couldn't say he dared at this moment. Then will you help or not? Robin stared at Adam. Help, help. Adam was helpless. Who made him so sorry last time? Although I haven't done those messy things, who made me a writer? It's no problem to make up some terrible stories about scumbags cheating and playing with girls. Adam spread his hands. Robin and Lily rolled their eyes at the same time. Obviously, they only believed in the word help in Adam's words. Let's have dinner together tonight, and then Lily will calmly lead the topic to this, and then you can talk to Katie. Robin began to tell her plan. Okay. Adam had no objection and casually asked, how long have they been dating? It seems like 2 months. Robin said uncertainly. Huh. Adam shouted speechlessly. Why bother with all this? 2 months. What should be done has been done long ago. Why wait until Christmas Eve? No, no, no. Robin covered his ears and kept denying, not wanting to listen. Lily showed a helpless expression and gave Adam a look that told him not to provoke Robin, saying, as long as you haven't lost your virginity, those don't count. Yes. Absolutely not. Don't. Adam's mouth twitched. He inexplicably thought of a magical female college student next door in an American TV series. Who is he trying to fool? Peas. Dear readers, Merry Christmas Eve. Chapter 559. Scumbag Adam Medical Center. Outside the building, facing Robin and Lily's self-deception, Adam was speechless. 2 months. Even if they were not cold people, but the daily should have been cold long ago. But Adam didn't say anything more. After all, as long as they are happy. At night, in a restaurant next to the medical center, Katie is still young, so naturally she can't be taken to the old friend bar. So they chose this restaurant for dinner and chat. Adam, this is my little sister Katie. Katie, this is my friend Adam. Robin introduced the two parties. Lily and Matthew also came. Hi, Katie. Adam smiled and greeted the girl. Hi. Katie looked at Adam and winked at Robin. Friend, huh? We are all good friends. Robin looked at Lily, and her eyes signaled that she was ready to start the topic. "Tonight is such a great day," Lily said a few words, and was stared at by everyone. She panicked and looked directly at Adam. "So, Adam, I heard that you have a battle plan every night since high school?" Adam's mouth twitched. "Is this your slow introduction?" Of course. Faced with such a blunt introduction, Adam could only put himself in Barney's character, with a playboy look on his face, and began to tell the story he made up in advance. "Tonight is my favorite night every year. I still remember my first girlfriend Judy in high school." Then, a series of stories about scumbags fighting with bayonets on Christmas Eve were told by Adam. Everyone was stunned. "OMG, I didn't expect you to be such a person," Lily screamed in shock. "What a scumbag." "Come on." Adam cooperated and spread his hands innocently. "I was still a high school boy at that time. My head was full of hormones, and those girls were willing. They were all blinded by the love you created," Lily said hatefully. "Otherwise how could they believe your lies? You spent Christmas Eve with several girls at the same time. You are really something." "At that time I was more philanthropic. I didn't want to make any girl who liked me sad." Adam still looked innocent. "I didn't force them." "Then where are they now?" Lily sneered. "I think many of them stayed in the small town, got married and had children, and were trapped there for the rest of their lives. Maybe their children also have your masterpiece that night." Adam was speechless, and lowered his head in shame, still speaking the words of a scumbag. "I didn't want to, but I couldn't control it. I just made a mistake that all men in the world would make. I know I'm not a good man, and I don't want to delay them." "OMG," Robin shouted angrily, "you are so shameless." She said so, but her thumbs were already raised behind her little sister Katie's back. She just felt that Adam and Lily acted so well. The effect was simply explosive. Katie was stunned at first, because the story made up by Adam was really too shocking for the young girl who was just beginning to fall in love. The key is that these stories give people a feeling that they are too real, and those small details all fit her mentality and the state of love. The sense of substitution exploded. She seemed to have become those girls, with a romantic love vision for her lover, and devoted herself without hesitation. But in the end she was deceived and played by Adam, and she was in agony. Some doubts in her heart about whether Adam was invited by her elder sister Robin to act disappeared under this situation. Thinking that she would be treated like this by her boyfriend Carl after tonight, tears rolled at her eyes. She decided to sleep at her elder sister's house tonight instead of her boyfriend Carl's. If her boyfriend Carl really loves her, it's okay to endure it for one night. Until Robin's exaggerated rebuke interrupted this atmosphere. "You are lying to me." Katie's expression changed, and she looked at Robin angrily. "No, no." Robin panicked and waved her hands repeatedly. "These are Adam's real experiences, just the psychology of high school boys. We didn't lie to you." Adam held his forehead. "You are a TV host and want to be the greatest reporter in the world, with such psychological quality and acting skills? There is no chance at all. So you told them everything about me and Carl?" Katie sneered. "Yes, I told them," Robin explained quickly, "but I just want you to listen to the opinions of other adults. Everyone thinks you should wait, right?" "Yeah." Adam and others nodded repeatedly. "See?" Robin laughed. "You are so hypocritical." Katie sneered. "You lost your virginity when you were 16. What qualifications do you have to say me?" "How did you know?" Robin said in shock. "You forgot your diary in my room." "Did you forget that your room is mine after you go to college?" Katie said proudly. "You're so careless." "Who'd write a diary?" Adam complained in a low voice. Robin glared at Adam. "I know all your stories, so you have no right to say anything." Katie smiled and said, "Carl and I have been in love for more than 2 months. It feels like a lifetime has passed. I don't want to wait any longer. Anyway, we have done everything we should do. We even..." "La la la." Robin covered her ears again and made a sound with her mouth to block her little sister's revelations. But Adam and the others heard it. "Even Carl can do that." Matthew looked at Lily indignantly. Lily rolled her eyes. Adam smiled and said nothing the whole time. "Sure enough, it's like this now. There's really no point in stopping it." But as for Katie's words tried everything, Adam complained in his heart. "Sure enough, You are still too young. That's it. You wrote in your diary yourself that chastity and other things are all lies. Instead of hiding and guarding, it's better to put it in the sun for more time. Katie complained. Did your sister say that? Adam couldn't help laughing. It seems that the values of the heroines in American TV series are similar. Penny also said this to Amy. Of course. Katie laughed. You don't know how popular my sister was at the beginning, even though her first boyfriend was a gay. Okay. Robin couldn't listen any longer, and covered her younger sister's mouth, took a deep breath, and said, "It is precisely because I have experienced it and now I regret doing it that I am more qualified to say you are my younger sister. I don't want you to regret not waiting a little bit later." Your sister is right. Adam agreed. She won't hurt you, and as you said just now, you and Carl have done everything. So what's wrong with waiting? If he really loves you, he really loves me, Katie said quickly. Then give it a try. Adam smiled meaningfully. Call him now and tell him that you want to wait a little longer and see how he reacts. True love can naturally withstand the test of one night, right? Okay. Katie thought about it, picked up her phone and walked out. Then, Adam and the others looked at each other and laughed. Nothing can stand the test, especially love. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 560, Merry Christmas in the Restaurant. Katie walked out with her phone. God bless you. Robin put her hands together and prayed to God. She didn't lie. It was because she herself almost became a prostitute that she was very disgusted and worried about her younger sister following her path. Don't worry, Adam smiled and comforted. They must have agreed on it a long time ago. Now Katie wants to test him and postpone the event. How can a high school boy with hormones in his head bear it? He will probably be so angry that he will break up directly. Really? Robin was overjoyed. Of course it's true. Adam smiled and said, if you don't believe me, ask Matthew. Yes, Matthew nodded with empathy. When Lily and I had sex for the first time, I also wanted to wait, but I really couldn't wait, and I also told some lies for this matter. For example, the olive theory. Lily complained. I really believed it at the time. Girls like to do this kind of thing. They say they don't want to eat at first, but after their boyfriends order, they eat what's in their bowls and look at what's in their boyfriend's pots, and they eat more happily than each other. Even if the boyfriend is not happy because the food is not to his liking, he can't say anything. After all, do you still want the happiness of the night? Lily met the good guy Matthew, and she put on a smiling face like most boyfriends would choose, and even accidentally created a love theory. The olive theory. That is, men and women complement each other. You don't like to eat, I like to eat, and we don't fight for food. If she met a foodie like Joey, Joey would really get angry if she did this. See? Adam laughed. Even a good guy like Matthew is like this, not to mention that coxcomb-haired long-tongued Carl. He will probably get angry directly. I hope so. Robin was full of expectations. When she saw the coxcomb-haired wretched man sticking out his long tongue to her little sister at the airport before, she almost couldn't help but beat him up. Adam, you're such a scumbag. Lily complained. At least in high school, I was. Huh, Adam said dissatisfiedly. You took it seriously? Didn't I tell you that I made those up? Really? Lily sneered. Can you make it so vivid and immersive? It turned out that she was not pretending when she was angry just now. After listening to Adam's description, she couldn't help but put herself in the story. Her sense of justice broke out and she cursed with real feelings. This seems so real. Yes, Adam said as a matter of course. You forgot that I am a well-known writer after all. Anyway, I don't believe it. Lily shook her head. The Lord of Mysteries you wrote is based on imagination and fantasy, which is completely different from what we are talking about now. The details you mentioned can never be thought of without personal experience. You are prejudiced. Adam laughed. You haven't eaten pork, but you haven't seen pigs run? I have read a lot of books on this subject. I don't have to experience it myself, and I can tell a lot of moving details. Don't pretend. Robin complained. I don't believe it either. You are definitely a scumbag among scumbags, but you are just a scumbag who is openly scumbag. Ahem. Adam coughed lightly and reminded, our focus tonight is Katie. Don't mess up the theme. The past is over. What's the point of mentioning those true and false things? If you have this time, you might as well go back to the hospital to save a few more people. Robin and the other two were speechless. No matter how much they despised Adam's previous scumbag behavior, Adam's image of working hard to cure diseases and save lives was still deeply rooted in people's hearts. Even Ted and Barney, who had a problem with Adam, were speechless. If they had Adam's conditions, they would be 10,000 times more extravagant than they are now. Why would they have to run to the airport, randomly chat up the pretty ladies who were leaving New York by plane, and then buy tickets urgently to follow them, only to find out after getting on the plane that they were all going to see their boyfriends, and then back off because their boyfriends were too strong? If they were Adam, even if their boyfriends were all strong football players, so what? Not only did they cause trouble for them, they also dared to cheat on their boyfriend's entire football team. In this regard, Owen Lee called him an expert. The entire football team of his high school was made to cry by him. Okay, Katie is back, Adam reminded. Everyone's eyes immediately shifted over. Katie came over with a mobile phone in her hand, looking skeptical of life. Katie, how is it? Robin almost jumped up and cheered, but she had to control her facial expression as much as possible, trying to pretend that nothing had happened, and asked with concern, I told Carl I wanted to wait, and then he dumped me. Woo-oo, Katie cried. Oh, that's a pity. Robin immediately walked over and hugged Katie, saying comforting words, but facing the expressions of Adam and the other two, he couldn't help but grin and clench his fists with ecstasy. Everything will be fine. You came here to spend Christmas with me, didn't you? Yeah. Katie wiped her tears, nodded, glanced at Adam, and said to Robin, will I go to your place tonight? Of course. Robin shouted, we sleep together tonight, drink juice together, and watch mermaids. What about him? Katie looked at Adam. Don't lie to me. You are just friends. Let him go to hell. Robin waved his hand. Haha. Katie smiled with tears in her eyes. Then you have to add a tablespoon of sugar to my juice. Okay. Robin nodded in a dilemma. Just once tonight, and don't tell Mom. Westerners love sweets too much. Girls are even worse, but sweets are the natural enemy of body shape. A responsible mother would strictly control the amount of candy her daughter eats. The atmosphere was much better afterwards. Although Katie had told Adam and Robin not to stop their original activities because of her, Adam still left tactfully. God knows what will happen tonight. He doesn't want to really face Robin's bullet. Life is endless, and learning never stops. On such a Christmas Eve, he chose to go to New Jersey to find Peggy, to study mathematics together, to explore the deepest mysteries of the universe, and to gain great joy in the growth of knowledge. Learning makes people happy. When Adam arrived, Peggy's apartment had been decorated very festively by Lisa. Boss, the things are ready. Assistant Lisa had a strange expression. Even though she had been with Adam for quite a while, she had seen many of Adam's different tricks, and even many of them were arranged by her. But she still sighed in her heart. Boss is really fun. Adam ignored this look. It's just some little fun in life. What's the big deal? At Lisa's signal, Adam found the gift, opened it, and saw that it was a red Santa Claus costume. But unlike the bulky Santa Claus costumes, this one is very small and slim. Adam asked Lisa to make it specifically for Peggy's body. White is pretty, red is good. Adam is no longer a child, so he naturally wants them all. This set is the red Christmas dress that Adam had seen in an art film in his previous life. After Adam drove Lisa away with his eyes, he personally gave it to Peggy, put it on her, and then spent Christmas Eve and Christmas happily with Peggy. Merry Christmas. P.S. I have something to do in the evening, so there are only 2 chapters today. Please forgive me. Merry Christmas to everyone. Chapter 561. The ponytail bells are ringing. Christmas Eve passed quickly. Christmas arrived. Adam and Peggy celebrated Christmas Eve and then celebrated Christmas in advance. Early in the morning, saying goodbye to Peggy who was sleeping soundly, Adam hummed a song and drove to the medical center. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle bells. We are on an open sleigh, skiing happily. breaking through the blizzard. We sit on the sleigh, speeding across the fields, accompanied by laughter all the time. The ponytail bells are jingling. How happy the mind and body are. Merry Christmas, Dr. Duncan. So happy today. When they arrived at the hospital, the most understanding nurse saw Adam so happy and came to greet him happily. She had been transferred to the operating room and was learning from the old operating nurse. Merry Christmas, Violet. Adam smiled and responded, "It's Christmas, so I'm naturally happy." This is the first time I've seen Dr. Duncan so happy and humming a song. The most understanding nurse asked curiously, "This song is so classic." Adam smiled and said, "Don't you think so?" "It's indeed classic." The most understanding nurse nodded. Jingle Bells is indeed the most classic Christmas song. Although it was originally written by a teacher for Thanksgiving, the lyrics and melody are too suitable for the joyous holiday of Christmas. Therefore, the song soon became a popular Christmas song. Over the past 100 years, whenever the melody sounded, people would unconsciously think of Christmas. And Adam thought of more. Jingle bells plus the ghost culture of a small broken station in Adam's previous life are the source of Adam's good mood for the day. It's a pity that this happiness is not known to outsiders. I can only sigh. The charm of music is indeed the most moving. Yes, in The Big Bang Theory, when Leonard played the cello, even Leslie, who cruelly rejected him, felt that his charm suddenly exploded and wanted Leonard to play a song on her violin. Peggy liked music in the first place, and she played and sang by herself during the intervals of scientific research. Since Adam was born, ensembles have become the norm, but the ensembles like last night and this morning are still unprecedented. Applying it to the novel, that is the highest realm of unity between man and piano. Adam was looking forward to playing more joyful songs with Peggy in this supreme state. Let's go, while you are still young. Tonight, take the girl and sing the sleigh song. Find a short-tailed brown horse, speed 240,010. Saying goodbye to the most understanding little nurse, Adam hummed a song and went to the dressing room. "Adam, are there any activities tonight?" Liz, who was always excited during the holidays, asked. "We have decorated the Christmas tree, and we will celebrate Christmas together tonight." "You decorated it," Meredith complained. "Sorry, there really is. And there will be a lot of activities." Adam smiled while changing clothes. "So, you guys spend a good time together tonight." "I told you a long time ago," George interrupted. "Apart from work, Adam doesn't even play with us after work, let alone spend Christmas together." "Come on." Adam was dissatisfied with this statement and reminded, "We work so long on weekdays, and we have to cook together after get off work. Except for sleeping, we are together almost every day. Don't we have a little private space?" Haha. Meredith couldn't help laughing. "Maybe George just doesn't want to have his own private space," Christina said leisurely. "Today is Christmas. Don't be disgusting." Adam cursed with a smile, changed his clothes, and left the locker room. First, he went to Green Clinic. Similar to Thanksgiving, there is no good surgery. Christmas is more grand than Thanksgiving. It is the most important holiday of the year for Americans. It is comparable to the Spring Festival in the East. It is a day for family reunion. If it is not an emergency that can't wait, who would make an appointment to come here for surgery today? Aren't you afraid that the doctor who also wants to go back to celebrate the holiday will be distracted by anxiety and directly perform the surgery on you? After all, any surgery has risks. "Adam, come to my house tonight to celebrate the holiday together," Leonard invited. "No, I don't know how busy I will be today." Adam declined. "You work too hard." Leonard shook his head and said, "With your level, you don't need to do this. It's totally fine for you to take a holiday and go home for the holidays like us attending doctors. I like the feeling of curing diseases and saving lives." Adam smiled and said, "It is said that people will do all kinds of unexpected stupid things during holidays because of the festivities. The possibility of injury increases greatly, and the emergency room may be very busy." "You really like being a doctor," Leonard sighed. "With such a talent like you and your persistence, I really don't know what kind of doctor you will grow into in the future. A legend among legends?" "I can't imagine." Haha. Adam smiled and changed the subject. "Where are Rachel and the others spending the holiday tonight?" Leonard's face turned black when he heard this. And he snorted coldly, I really love her in vain. She actually took Emma to the Geller family to spend Christmas. You know, Emma is my granddaughter, and her last name is Green. This can't be blamed on Rachel. Adam smiled and advised. After all, they are married. Ross is not only the only son of the Geller family, but also the most beloved child. Rachel has already spent Thanksgiving with Ross and Emma. If you spend Christmas together, the Geller family will be unhappy. Then I would rather spend Christmas together, Leonard said unhappily. You can switch it every year, Adam smiled and suggested. This year is the first year, Thanksgiving at the Green family and Christmas at the Geller family. Next year, Thanksgiving at the Geller family and Christmas at the Green family. Take turns. This was also the helpless choice of many young couples in Adam's previous life. 2 families, 2 pairs of elders. But the young couple only has 1 pair. If they accompany one, they will ignore the other. If both sides are only children, it will be even more uncomfortable. As for spending Christmas together, there are many conflicts, which may not be a good thing. At this time, they can only take turns. HMPH. Leonard snorted. If I had known this would happen, I would have just divorced them after they registered the birth of Emma, so that Rachel and Emma could spend the holidays with me every year. Adam's mouth twitched. Ross really didn't meet Leonard's eyes. Once Emma was treated as a legitimate child, in Leonard's eyes, Ross, the biological father of his granddaughter, was useless. After chatting with Leonard for a while, Adam went directly to the emergency room. Emergency room. Oh my God, it's already 10 o'clock. The children must be queuing for several blocks. I have to go. A Santa Claus staggered out. You have to see a doctor. John Carter supported Santa Claus. I'm much better now, thank you, young man. Santa Claus pushed Carter away, adjusted his hat, said a few words, and ran out. I have to go. The children must be waiting anxiously. Wait. Adam, who had treated a few more people and was in a good mood, came out of the clinic. Seeing this scene, he hurried over, caught up with Santa Claus, and stopped him. P.S. There will be 2 more chapters later. Chapter 562, Fortunately and Unfortunate Medical Center. Emergency. Doctor, I have something to do. The children are still waiting for me, Santa Claus said anxiously. No matter how urgent it is, I have to see a doctor first. Adam directly pushed aside the big beard and other decorations on his face and began to examine him. Have you taken any medicine recently? No. Santa Claus shook his head directly. I'm fine. I just felt a little dizzy before. Maybe I was tired recently. But when I think of the children's happiness, I feel energetic again. Doctor, please let me go. American tradition. Many people dress up as Santa Claus during Christmas and interact with children. For example, sitting on Santa Claus's lap for photos. Of course, it's not just children. If it was Rachel's first few months of pregnancy, she could sit on the laps of all the Santa Clauses in New York City during Christmas. In the United States, everything is business. These Santa Clauses are no exception. Some of them are full-time, some are part-time, and most of them are hired by the Santa Claus Association, and then appear in front of stores with needs to gather traffic for the stores. The store pays the association, and the association gives the Santa Claus under its umbrella. The association is a second-hand intermediary platform, earning the difference. Similar to this, there are a series of classic images such as the clown. In the movie Joker, didn't the clown dress up as a clown at the beginning, holding the store sign, and attracting customers to the store at the door? In this case, are there any Santa Clauses who want to contact the merchants themselves to prevent the middlemen from making a profit? Of course there are, but think about the consequences of going against the association. At the very least, they will be beaten up by the Santa Clauses under the association for territory, and at the worst, they will be killed directly. Therefore, not many people work alone. Christmas is a limited time. In order to make enough money in such a short time, don't even think about 996. Basically, they are 007. Of course, the statement to the outside world naturally becomes that it is worth it no matter how hard or tired it is for the children to interact with Santa Claus. I'm afraid not. Adam shook his head. You don't want to scare the children, do you? Santa Claus, who originally represented happiness, suddenly fell in front of them. How many children will be scared? What? Santa Claus was startled. Is my illness serious? You need to take an MRI first. Adam motioned Santa Claus to go back. Have you taken any medicine recently? And what is your name? Do you have any medical records? Santa Claus was also scared by Adam's posture. It is said that he is bringing happiness to the children, but in fact, it is just a job. It is not worth it to give up his life for work. He has not reached such a high level yet. The symptoms that he had suppressed, such as dizziness, weakness, nausea and discomfort, resurfaced in his mind, and the more he thought about it, the more scared he became. Dr. Duncan, I asked him to see a doctor, but he didn't listen to me, John Carter added at this time. I know, Adam nodded. The doctor is only responsible for giving medical advice, but it is the patient's freedom to listen or not. If Santa Claus didn't want to listen to Adam and forced to leave, Adam would not stop him. After all, life is his own. Americans, free to live, random to die. MRI room, go call Dr. Shept. Adam took a look at the MRI film and told Carter. Yes. Carter immediately ran to call. Not long after, Dr. Shept came. What's the situation? Our Santa Claus has brain cancer, in the late stage. Adam pointed to the MRI film and said, what a pity. Dr. Shept took a look and agreed with Adam's diagnosis. He shook his head and said, the children will probably cry if they know this. Fortunately, Dr. Duncan stopped him. Carter said with a look of fear, otherwise, if he really collapsed in front of so many children, it would definitely become a shadow in many children's lives. Let's go. Let's go together to persuade Santa Claus to let him have the operation. If it is successful, he can live a few more years. Dr. Shept said, today may be his lucky day. He may not think so. Adam shook his head. For Santa Claus, it is really hard to say which news is better. The sudden death that could have happened suddenly, or knowing that he has advanced brain cancer and will not live for long. Both are bad news. The facts are as Adam expected. After hearing the news, Santa Claus shook his fat body and his face turned pale. How long can I live? It's hard to say. Dr. Shept pondered. If the operation goes well, pay attention after the operation, and be optimistic. He can live 2 to 3 years, or even longer. If I don't have the operation, how long can I live? Santa interrupted. In your case, it's a few months at most. Adam explained. There's also the possibility of sudden death at any time. I see. Santa Claus was speechless for a long time, then nodded. After that, he picked up the Santa hat and put on Santa's white beard. Sir, you're not going to have surgery? Dr. Shept was surprised. I just want to go home and reunite with my family. Santa Claus walked to the door. Sir, I strongly recommend that you have surgery immediately. Dr. Shept reminded. Otherwise you will be at risk of sudden death at any time. I see. Santa Claus perfunctorily said and left. Alas, Dr. Shept looked at his back and sighed. Only when people face life and death will they remember what they should cherish most. I hope so. Adam also sighed. Huh? Dr. Shept looked at Adam in surprise. You disagree? I just hope he really goes home and reunites with his family. Adam sighed. Otherwise, after today, maybe some children will never want to celebrate Christmas again. You mean? Dr. Shept was shocked. Death at work. Even if he had advanced brain cancer, the company would have to pay some money to the family, right? Adam said. Or if he was hit by a car when he went out, the car owner and the insurance company would have to pay the family more or less, right? Dr. Shept and Carter were stunned, but thinking carefully about Santa Claus's attitude just now, these things might really happen. After all, most people would still choose to have surgery after hearing this news, and live a few more years if they can. Unlike Santa Claus, he is so determined, and when he goes back to reunite with his family, he doesn't need to stick on Santa Claus' white beard and put on a Santa hat here, and dress up as Santa Claus again. We don't do anything? Carter hesitated. We are just doctors, only responsible for treatment. Other things are not our business, and we can't control them. Dr. Shept sighed. After speaking, he turned and left. Let's go back to the emergency room. Instead of wasting time here, We might as well treat more patients. Adam patted Carter on the shoulder and walked towards the emergency room. Chapter 563. Raising a child really requires verification of the medical center. Emergency room. Help, help, help. A series of cries for help came from the door. Doctor, come and save my daughter. A middle-aged man, holding a little girl, rushed into the hospital. My daughter is dying. What's going on? Adam's feet were as fast as the wind. He ran past Susan and ran to the man's side first, taking the child from the man's arms. She fell into the lake. The child's father cried out in pain. Molly, Molly, drowning. The child has frozen, Adam said to Susan and ran towards the treatment room. She is not breathing, and her lungs are starting to aspirate. While Adam was instructing the nurse, he pushed the child's father, who was leaning on the bed and unwilling to leave, back. You go out first, take him out. It's all my fault. Molly, please don't die. I won't go out, I want to stay with her. The child's father staggered after being pushed, and then immediately ran over, ignoring the nurse's pulling, and directly pushed the nurse away, wishing he could cling to the girl Molly. Do you want Molly to die? Adam grabbed the child's father by the neck, lifted him up in midair, and pressed him against the wall with one hand, shouting, if you don't want to, get out immediately and don't hinder us from rescuing her here. Doctor, please save her. After such a big movement and powerless struggle, the child's father was finally awakened, and he looked at Adam with begging eyes. We will do our best, get out now. Adam put him down, scolded, and returned to the rescue position. Laryngoscope, 5.5 airway tube intubation. Insert it in, suck out the water and put on the airbag. Connie, test her blood coagulation rate, and take a chest x-ray. Adam carried out the rescue in an orderly and rapid manner. The drowning Molly's father couldn't help but walk in again, watching Adam's rescue with tears on his face. This time, he didn't run over to hinder him impulsively. What happened? Adam had time to ask him at this time. I took her fishing, and Molly was so happy that she ran ahead and fell into the ice hole. Molly's father cried in self-blame. It's all my fault. Why did I take her fishing? As he said that, he slapped himself hard, with such force that half of his face was swollen and red. How long was she underwater? Adam didn't have time to pay attention to his self-punishment, and asked while rescuing her. I don't know, Molly's father said painfully. I smashed the ice with all my strength and rescued her. It took about 5 minutes. Adam took the time to glance at his swollen and bleeding hand and ordered, Carter, go and treat him. No need. Molly's father motioned Carter to come over. I'm fine. I want to stay here with her. Treat her here, Adam ordered. Blood pressure 30, pulse very weak, bradycardia, heart rate 32, temperature 27. The nurse reminded. Heating blanket, Adam ordered. She must be warmed up, otherwise she will die. The nurse immediately brought a heating blanket and covered Molly with it. Hail Mary, Holy Heart, the Lord is with you, praised among women, blessed the offspring in the womb. Jesus, the Virgin Mary, pray for us sinners. Molly's father ignored Carter and clasped his hands together to pray for his daughter Molly. As he spoke, he burst into tears again. God, don't take my daughter away. Please don't take my daughter away. Heating blankets are not effective. Give her heated humidified oxygen directly, Adam ordered. Yes, doctor. The nurse agreed and began to prepare. Lydia, bring me 236 circumference chest closed drainage tubes. We need to do pleural lavage for her to directly warm up her heart. Yes, doctor. The nurse responded immediately. Cardiac arrest, the nurse reminded. Inject atropine, Adam ordered while reaching out and pressing on Molly's chest to give her cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Oh, God. Molly's father's legs went limp, and he fell to his knees, clasping his hands together and praying to God with all his strength. Everyone was looking at the straight line of the electrocardiogram on the monitor. Adam was steadily performing cardiopulmonary resuscitation. The whole clinic was filled with the sound of the straight line of the electrocardiogram on the monitor and the constant prayers of Molly's father. 10 minutes later, heartbeats appear. She's alive. The nurse who had been staring at the monitor couldn't help but shout, "Good girl." Adam breathed a sigh of relief and touched Molly's slightly warm face. Now let's keep going and do a warm pleural lavage for you. Doctor, Molly's blood coagulation factor is normal, Nurse Connie said, holding the examination report. Very good. Adam nodded and began to do pleural lavage for Molly. Molly's father, hearing this great news, stood up and looked at Adam eagerly. Come here. Adam glanced at him and nodded. Doctor, is Molly okay? Molly's father dared to walk to Molly's side and asked expectantly. From now on, everything is going well, Adam explained, but Molly is still not completely out of danger. We need to continue to rewarm her. During this process, she may have a series of problems such as rewarming shock and brain damage. Molly's father put his hand over his mouth and tried not to cry. Your hand needs treatment, otherwise how will you take care of your daughter when she wakes up? Adam said. Carter. Yes, Dr. Duncan. Carter agreed and came over to pull Molly's father. This time, Molly's father did not refuse, and obediently walked aside, stretched out his hands for Carter to treat, and his eyes were still fixed on his daughter. Half an hour later. What's the temperature? The temperature has risen to 36 degrees, and the blood pressure is stable. Molly's father, with gauze wrapped around his hands, has been standing by the bed, staring at his daughter infatuatedly, and immediately noticed that Molly's eyelids moved. Child, what's your name? Adam came over and asked while checking Molly's eyes. Since she woke up and other data were normal, concerns such as rewarming shock could be ruled out. The most worrying thing now was brain damage. Molly, I'm Daddy. Molly's father also called softly. Unfortunately, Molly didn't say a word. Book her an EKG and MRI. Adam sighed in his heart. After the examination, Adam felt relieved and said to Molly's father, who was looking at him eagerly, the EKG is normal, and the MRI did not show any brain damage. Molly is fine physically, she should be frightened. You stay with her first and talk to her more. I will come to see her later. An hour later. Thank you, doctor, you saved my daughter. My name is Dante Vranio. I will never forget your kindness today. When Adam came over to check, Molly's father came over excitedly and held Adam's hand with both hands, very grateful. Molly spoke. Adam smiled. Molly, this is Dr. Duncan. He saved you. Molly's father took Adam and walked to the bedside, and said gently to the little Molly who was blinking on the bed, Dr. Duncan. Molly called softly. Yeah. Adam touched Molly's head and smiled. Don't be afraid, child, you are safe now, everything will be fine. Chapter 564, No Filial Son at the bedside of a long-term patient. Medical center. Emergency room. Molly, are you okay? A beautiful woman in her 20s walked in quickly and looked at Molly with a worried look. Molly shook her head. Dante, look at what you've done. The beautiful woman yelled at Molly's father. You can't even take care of a child. Molly's father smiled bitterly. He had no way to dispute this responsibility. Doctor, how is Molly? The beautiful woman looked at Adam again. Mrs. Vranio, your daughter is fine. Adam smiled. It's Miss Vranio. After the beautiful woman breathed a sigh of relief, the worry on her face disappeared and she instantly became charming. Molly is my niece. Oh. Adam glanced at her and apologized. I'm sorry, you look a lot like Molly. I thought you were her mother. It's normal for a girl to look like her aunt, isn't it? Miss Vranio scanned Adam back and forth with a look like she was looking at her prey. Doctor, you've been to the 5th Street gym, right? No, I haven't. Adam glanced at her. My bad. Ms. Vranio bit her lip, her eyes flickering. But I know that you must work out regularly, Tilda. Adam glanced at Molly's father and saw him smile bitterly without saying a word. Seeing Molly laying on the bed, she also showed a knowing smile on her little face, and realized that Ms. Vranio must be an old driver. That's right. Adam had seen so much gossip and insider scandals in his previous life. The gossips that often circulate in the gym almost equate people who go to the gym regularly with people who like to dance ballroom dance. Is Miss Vranio talking about fitness? No, she is greedy for Adam's body. I never work out, Adam said with a smile and turned to leave. Dr. Duncan, Clinic 2. As soon as he came out, the nurse reminded him. What's going on? Adam walked in and saw an African-American child being given cardiopulmonary resuscitation by a nurse. He has difficulty breathing. He suddenly fainted when we were doing a physical examination on him. His heart rate went from 35 to no heart rate now. His body temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. The blood culture dish has been sent to the laboratory, the nurse said quickly. This is septic shock. Adam took over the CPR and instructed while doing it, give him a dose of epinephrine, 1 mg of atropine, 1.5 mg of erythromycin and cephalosporin. Then he looked at the middle-aged African man who had been standing there woodenly with an expressionless face. Are you his father? Has this happened to him before? Yes, once, when he had pneumonia, the middle-aged African man said concisely. Cerebral palsy? Adam asked. Brain damage, the middle-aged African man said without emotion. He has a pulse, the nurse reminded. Beep beep. The alarm of the monitor began to sound again. He has ventricular fibrillation, the nurse reminded. Inject lidocaine, 50 mg, intravenous. Adam ordered. Peak T-wave, unstable heart rate, too high potassium level, renal failure. Give him 15 milliliters of calcium gluconate. After a rescue, the African-American boy came back to life. Okay, prepare blood sugar and insulin, Adam ordered after checking. Can he survive? At this time, the child's father took the initiative to speak for the first time. It seems that he can. Adam glanced at him. Then he noticed something from the disappointed look of the child's father. It is probably another case that must be verified when raising a child. At night, Dr. Duncan, the patient is having difficulty breathing. The nurse called Adam again, put him on a ventilator and sent him to the intensive care unit. Adam went over to check and said, "Where is the child's father? I can't get in touch with him." The nurse sighed. Alas, Adam also sighed. Although this child was rescued by Adam once, because he had severe pneumonia, his body had serious sequelae. If he was not put on a ventilator, he would be on the verge of death again in a few hours. And being on a ventilator all the time is simply not something that an ordinary family can afford. The father of the child obviously knew the inside story. The medical record stated that the treatment had lasted for 2 full years, and he had been in and out of the hospital almost all the time. The indifference on his face before, and the direct abandonment now, abandoning the child to the hospital, may be because he could not bear the torture anymore. At 8 o'clock, Adam changed his clothes, left the hospital building, and prepared to drive to New Jersey to spend Christmas with Peggy. Christmas in the morning was just a warm-up, and the evening was the main meal. Outside the building, a dark shadow was sitting against the wall. If it weren't for the flashing light of the cigarette butt, Adam would have almost missed it with his eyesight. Adam looked closely and found that it was the middle-aged African man who was previously thought to have abandoned his child. Ben has been put on a ventilator and is now in the intensive care unit. Adam thought about it and walked over. Okay. The middle-aged African man took a puff of cigarette and responded numbly. Adam glanced at him and turned away. Every family has its own problems. You have to love your own children. There is really little that outsiders can do. Adam had just taken a few steps when he heard the voice of a middle-aged African-American man behind him. I found a job managing a recycling plant in Detroit. Adam stopped, turned around and looked at the other man, without saying anything. What the other man needed now was just a chance to talk. I'm moving. I've been thinking that if Ben died, things would be much simpler. But I'm thinking, what kind of person would have such a terrible idea? What kind of father would want his only child to die? For 2 years, Ben and I have been alone. No job, no friends, no one to help us. He needs me 24 hours a day, to turn him over, to feed him, to sing to him when he cries. I love my son. I've been paying for Ben for 2 whole years. 2 whole years. I really can't go on any longer. I need all this to end. God. Woo woo woo. A big man was sobbing there. If I give you a chance to take care of your son while working, are you willing to continue? Adam was silent for a moment and asked. Jushiran said, there is no filial son in front of a long-term sick bed. Applying this to the situation, it means that there is no loving father in front of a sick bed for a long time. For 2 years, he has been in and out of the hospital frequently, has no job, no income, no social life, and takes care of his half-dead son every day. It is understandable that a man is on the verge of collapse. If he had not chosen to give up, Adam must have offered to help him before, instead of turning around and walking away. Of course, the African man wiped his tears and shouted, if it is not really impossible to hold on, Which father would be willing to give up his only child? Exclamation mark. I can introduce you to a job. Adam gave a phone number. You call this number, and then take Ben there. Take care of him while working. He naturally gave the Ellis Charity Foundation established by Carolyn, because of Adam's financial support and investment advice. The strength of the Charity Foundation has been growing, and the facilities of the Ellis Manor have been getting better and better. There are ventilators and so on. The African man can be a caregiver there. In addition to taking care of his own son, he can also take care of more people. He has been taking care of his son alone for 2 years. This love that has been practiced through hard work has surpassed most people. And after giving up, he immediately regretted it. God helps those who help themselves. It is worth it for Adam to give such a chance. Chapter 565 Rocket Attack. Outside the medical center, Adam, who had done a good deed, waved goodbye to the grateful middle-aged African man and drove to New Jersey. That night, it was naturally another festive and happy scene. More than 1 million words are omitted here. After Christmas, the days passed faster. Soon it was New Year's Day. The time was already 1999. Adam, there's a New Year's party at the old friend bar tonight. Lily called early to make an appointment. Okay. Adam smiled and said, but I might be there a little later. You don't have to wait for me. Have fun first. Okay. Lily was about to hang up the phone, but suddenly remembered something and quickly reminded her, Robin is here tonight. Don't bring other girls over. Adam's mouth twitched and he hung up the phone directly. Who did he think he was? He was underestimated too much. As long as it wasn't a surprise attack, Adam always arranged his time clearly and would never bump into anyone. Medical center. Emergency room. An ambulance drove over. Adam had been notified in advance and took the initiative to greet it. The back door of the car opened, and a middle-aged woman covered in blood was in shock, trembling all over and screaming. The real patient was lying there, and a beautiful young female paramedic reached into the patient's chest with one hand, apparently stopping the bleeding with her bare hands. Adam was about to step forward and take over the stretcher, but his heart was shocked, and a strong sense of crisis came over him, and he automatically entered bullet time. Wait. Adam retreated again and again, all the way back to the hospital, and then he returned to the normal flow of time. He shouted to the stunned emergency personnel and the nurses who came out of the hospital to help, "Don't move first, Dr. Duncan." The medical staff all looked puzzled. "There is danger. Don't move." Adam focused his eyes on the hand of the young female paramedic that reached into the patient's chest. "Pain, especially you. Don't move." In bullet time, he had scanned everything around him and locked the source of danger on the patient. "What's the patient's condition?" Adam asked seriously. "James Carnson, 46 years old. He had lost consciousness when we passed by. I tried to stop the bleeding with gauze, but it didn't work. In order to stop the bleeding, I could only reach in." "Is there any problem?" the young female paramedic asked nervously. "How did he get injured?" Adam asked. "How did such a big wound form?" "I don't know." The young female paramedic was stunned. "On the way here, we also wanted to ask his wife, but you also saw that the patient's wife was in hysterical shock and just yelled all the way." "Don't move," Adam emphasized again, then walked to the patient's wife and asked, "Madam, how did your husband get injured?" The patient's wife's eyes were blank, and she could only scream and vent her endless fear. "Doctor, the patient is still losing blood and must be treated immediately," the young female paramedic reminded. "I know." Adam had some guesses in his mind and waved his hands to signal, "Don't move. Don't move at all." Time was running out. Seeing that the patient's wife couldn't come back to her senses at all, Adam grabbed her shoulders, faced her, and imitated her and roared. The sound was so loud that it instantly overwhelmed the patient's wife's roar, immediately calming her down and making her stop roaring. "How did your husband get injured?" Adam asked. Goose. However, even though she was calmed down, the patient's wife wanted to speak, but she could only make goose sounds from her mouth, and couldn't say a complete sentence. "What's going on?" At this time, Dr. Burke, who had received the news earlier and was waiting to take over, came over and frowned and asked, "Why didn't the patient go in?" "I stopped him," Adam said, I sense danger. I need to find out how the patient was injured before I can send him to the hospital." "Nonsense." Dr. Burke looked at Adam in surprise. "What do you mean you sense danger? The patient is in danger now and must be sent to the hospital immediately." "I don't agree to do this." Adam looked at Dr. Burke and said in a deep voice, "Dr. Burke, I have a keen intuition about danger. Please believe in my intuition and my judgment." Dr. Burke was startled. "Dr. Duncan, are you sure?" "I'm sure," Adam said, and then looked at the patient's wife. "How did your husband get injured?" "If you don't tell us, we can't save him." "Do you want your husband to die here?" The patient's wife also understood the seriousness of the problem and tried her best to organize her words, but she couldn't explain it clearly for a while. "Does he have a bomb in his body?" Adam stared into her eyes. There were not many things that could give him such a strong sense of threat. Combined with the huge wound on the patient's chest, his first reaction was that the patient was a human bomb. "This has happened in the free United States." "Wow." As soon as these words came out, the people around were in an uproar, and then they retreated one after another. "Rocket." The patient's wife was reminded by Adam and finally organized some words. "James, hit by a rocket." "Rocket." When everyone heard this, there was another uproar and they retreated further. "Doctor, what should I do?" The young female paramedic also reacted and shouted in a trembling voice. "Is the object you are pressing on a hard object, like metal?" Adam asked. "I don't know. It seems so." The young female paramedic was about to cry. "Call the bomb squad immediately." Dr. Burke instructed the nurse. "Don't move yet." Adam again instructed the young female paramedic, and then said to Dr. Burke, "The rocket should not have exploded, but it may explode at any time. We can't let him enter the hospital, let alone let him get close to the operating room. There are oxygen supply devices in the operating room. Once it explodes, with such a large amount of oxygen, it will definitely be a chain explosion, and the entire hospital will be blown up." Yes, Dr. Burke obviously thought of it when he heard it. He even began to suspect that this was a well-planned terrorist attack launched by terrorists. After all, the original human bomb has limited effect, but after such a disguise, it can blow up the entire hospital. The tragic and sensational effect it causes will be earth-shattering. Black alert. Dr. Burke ordered the nurse next to him, "Evacuate all personnel in this building." God knows how powerful this rocket is. The best way is to have someone drive an ambulance away from the hospital and away from the crowd. But at this time, who dares to drive? Maybe, if you move, the rocket will be detonated actively or passively. Chapter 566. Each one is a talent medical center. At the entrance of the building, an ambulance was parked here alone. A young and beautiful girl in uniform was sitting in the ambulance with sweat all over her head. Her right hand reached into a bloody chest with great fear in her eyes. "Go and save my husband." As time passed, the patient's wife, who had screamed in fear before, also came to her senses. Seeing that everyone was 8 feet away and no one was saving her husband, she became anxious. "Sorry, we can't go there before the bomb squad arrives." Adam shook his head. "Just kidding." Although he has bullet time and his speed is much faster than that of ordinary people, but this does not mean that he can take over the position of the uniform girl. Take out the rocket in the patient's body, and then throw it out quickly. The explosion speed and power of the bomb are unknown. The threat to Adam is so strong, obviously, once it explodes in his hands or explodes next to him, it will send him a song of coolness. He is indeed very devout in curing diseases and saving lives. But don't forget, the reason why he did this is to save people safely and increase his lifespan, that is, to survive. And now he is asked to risk his life for a stranger? Sorry. After so many years of hard work, he has never forgotten who he is. He is not a saint. It is very powerful to shout to others, "I will take care of your wife." But it is too fucked to be shouted at by others. If he has an accident now, he doesn't know who will benefit in the end. Only a fool would do that. You are doctors. Saving lives is your responsibility. The patient's wife screamed hysterically again. Saving lives is our responsibility, not defusing bombs. Adam said coldly, "We must wait for the bomb disposal team to come and remove the bomb threat before we can save people." Dr. Burke stood aside, with a tangled face, but after hesitating again and again, He chose to remain silent. If he didn't know at the beginning, he took over this patient for his own sense of professional ethics. Perhaps he would insist on taking responsibility to the end. But at this moment, not only did he not take over, but he also suspected that the other party was a terrorist who was a human bomb. Naturally, he would not impulsively go up to be a hero. That's right, we are just medical staff, not bomb disposal personnel. Who knows if they are terrorists who did this on purpose? Do normal people have rockets? If she really loves her husband, she should drive the ambulance to a secluded place and personally remove the rocket in her husband's body. That would be true love. Otherwise, why would she ask doctors to defuse bombs? She must know about the pink mist, so she didn't dare to go over there. Pink mist, don't you know? When a bomb explodes, the affected people will be blown into countless pieces. If the power is strong enough, people will be liquefied or even vaporized. You were a person the moment before, and the next moment, you turned into a ball of blood mist, leaving nothing behind but bloody particles. OMG, this is horrible. We are just ordinary medical staff, not battlefield medical staff. In the United States, is there any difference? Thanks to Dr. Duncan's keen intuition, he sensed the danger and warned us in advance. Otherwise, perhaps we would all die and the entire hospital would be blown up. The medical staff standing far away were still in shock and talking about it. They were full of gratitude to Adam and full of hostility and anger towards the patient couple who started it. We are not terrorists. The patient's wife also heard the discussion. Her face flushed and her neck thick, and she yelled around, but her feet did not move. Minty, why are you here? Where is James? At this time, a car drove up and stopped. A middle-aged white man in the uniform of the Allied forces during World War II got out of the car. There was blood on his body and he shouted at the patient's wife, "You idiot! You killed James!" Minty yelled as soon as she saw him, "Hurry up and save James!" "I'm not a doctor." The man looked at everyone in confusion. "You are all doctors. Why don't you save James?" "Because there is a rocket in his body." Minty exploded. "How old are you and James?" "Two idiots." "Still playing such a dangerous game." "We are not playing games," the man interrupted dissatisfiedly. "We are reenacting. We accurately copied the anti-tank weapon of the Allied forces in World War II, the M9A1 rocket launcher." "Did you fire the rocket?" Adam was shocked. It is said that Americans know how to play, but this time, it still broke Adam's imagination. "We tested it in the backyard. I was the gunner, James was the loader. We followed those specifications completely. It was a 60mm caliber, weighing 1.5 pounds of rocket launcher. It was perfect." The man still didn't understand the situation, and he fell into the joy of perfectly replicating the weapon. "How powerful is the explosion?" Adam interrupted. "I don't know." The man was stunned and muttered, "Anyway, it's an anti-tank weapon. Very powerful." "Now that such a powerful rocket has been shot into James' body by you, it may explode at any time," the patient's wife Minty yelled. "If you are really James' best friend and comrade in arms, then go over now, drive the ambulance to a deserted place, and then take the rocket out of James' body and let the doctor save James. Time is running out. James is about to die." The man who cosplayed as the Allied forces in World War II was stunned there. And then he remembered that the rocket he fired did not explode, and now it is lying in the stomach of his comrade in arms James, and it may explode at any time. "Minty, you know I am a French-Italian mixed race. I also want to save James, but this is really not my strong point. Let's wait for the bomb squad to come." Adam and others listened, and their mouths twitched. What a powerful truth. He is a French-Italian mixed race. So the cosplay is also a French-Italian soldier. He is not good at anything, but he is the best at running away. Nothing wrong. It was like Sheldon and Leonard playing a game together, snatching the blade of Azenith, and letting Leonard and his teammates die on the spot. But he teleported away directly, shouting, "I am the sword master." Then he quickly auctioned the sword master's sword. Facing the questioning of Leonard and the other two, he replied confidently, "I am a night elf thief." "Haven't you read the character introduction? What's the situation now?" The bomb squad finally arrived quickly. Wait for Adam to finish the situation. The captain of the bomb squad was also speechless. This is simply courting death and killing others. How is the evacuation of the personnel in this building going? Still evacuating. Dr. Burke has been paying attention to this matter and immediately replied, some operations in the operating room cannot be stopped. For example, Dr. Shept was performing a craniotomy, but it was stopped halfway through, and the patient was 100% dead. I suggest driving the ambulance to an open and deserted place as soon as possible, and then defusing the bomb. Adam suggested, no, the homemade bomb is too unstable to move. The leader of the bomb squad immediately denied it. Adam said nothing more. This kind of situation can only be left to professionals. P.S. Thanks to Fujian for the reward. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 567. Open the door. Outside the medical center. What's your name? The leader of the bomb squad shouted to the female paramedic who was on the verge of collapse. Hannah Davis, the female paramedic said in a trembling voice. Okay, Hannah, the leader of the bomb squad said, if we want to save Mr. Carlson, we must take the bomb out immediately. Only you can do this. I can't do it, Hannah cried. No, you can do it. The leader of the bomb squad shouted, you need to be very careful and take the bomb out very slowly. Remember to keep it horizontal, and then give it to me, okay? No, I can't do it. I want to leave here. Hannah became more and more terrified. Pressing the bomb was terrifying enough, and now you have to take the bomb out of the patient's body. Even if you are careful, this action is too big. Just think about it and you will know how dangerous it is. No, you are a paramedic. You have to save my husband, the patient's wife Minty yelled. This worked. It was just a counter effect. Hannah thought about how she tried so hard to save the patient, even violating the first aid regulations by directly reaching her hand into the patient's chest. But the person she saved was a person who was asking for his own death and almost killed countless people, and now his wife only knew how to yell at her and let her risk her life. She was only 22 years old, had just graduated, just started working, and had just started her life. If the patient was a hero, or even just an innocent ordinary person, she might have gritted her teeth and risked saving him, but the other party was clearly asking for his own death. What kind of World War II weapons game was he playing? Even his comrades in arms were unwilling to save him, so why should she save him? At worst, she would not do first aid. Whoever wants to do this kind of work can do it. She also has her own family and loves her parents. How sad would she be if she knew she was dead? These thoughts flashed through Hannah's mind after the patient's wife Minty yelled, and then she decisively withdrew her hand, jumped off the ambulance, and ran away. No, seeing this scene, the patient's wife Minty yelled again, but that was it. Her feet were as still as those of the French-Italian man standing there awkwardly. Damn it, everyone hid behind the wall. The captain of the bomb squad, who was close to the patient, even lay directly on the ground. These were all subconscious actions. A few seconds later, the bomb still did not explode. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief and looked over. The captain of the bomb squad stood up, glanced at the patient, then turned back to look at everyone, gritted his teeth, and said, I will go over and take out the bomb now. You are ready to save people immediately. Adam frowned, because the sense of threat not only did not decrease, but became stronger. What this meant was obvious. He was thinking about whether to persuade the captain of the bomb squad not to get close. Boom. A ball of pink mist appeared. The power and release time of the bomb were not enough to blow up the people nearby. Only the captain of the bomb squad was directly knocked to the ground because he was close. Save people. After the sense of crisis was eliminated, Adam ran over immediately to check the captain of the bomb squad who had fallen to the ground, fainted, had many metal fragments stuck in his back, and was bleeding profusely. Push the bed. Dr. Burke was the second to react, shouting in his ears. Unfortunately, no one responded, because the nurses in the hospital had never experienced such a scene before, and with their ears buzzing, they had no time to pay attention to what others said. Adam directly lifted the captain of the bomb squad with both hands, walked into the hospital quickly, put him on the trolley that Dr. Burke personally pushed, and pushed him into the emergency room while doing examinations. Captain, several members of the bomb squad surrounded him. They were used to this kind of buzzing sound and were very accustomed to it. "Go call the nurse," Adam ordered. "The danger is over. Immediately resupply the oxygen in the emergency room. Get the operating room ready. Call Dr. Sandy." Dr. Burke picked up the indoor phone in the emergency room and called Richard, the chief surgeon who had been waiting for news, to ask him to resupply oxygen. The captain of the bomb squad was blown up like this, and before being sent to the operating room, he must first stabilize his condition in the emergency room, and oxygen masks and other auxiliary breathing devices are indispensable. The operating room also needs a certain amount of preparation time. With the joint efforts of Adam and Dr. Burke, the patient was sent to operating room 3 as soon as his condition stabilized. Dr. Sandy from the plastic surgery department was already waiting there. The captain of the bomb squad was close to the bomb squad. Not only was there many metal fragments stuck in his back, but also a large area of his skin was burned by the high temperature of the explosion. He would definitely need plastic surgery. The only thing to be thankful for was that the captain of the bomb squad had his back to the bomb. Otherwise, he would have been disfigured by now. Back plastic surgery and facial plastic surgery are completely different concepts in this world where appearance is everything. With today's plastic surgery, it is simply impossible to achieve such perfection. Once disfigured, plastic surgery is just to make it less scary. Don't even think about restoring it to its original state or even making it better. In comparison, the back is much better. When Adam and others were saving the captain of the bomb squad in the operating room, there was already a big commotion outside. Minty, the wife of the patient who was killed in the explosion, cried and made a fuss. The French-Italian mixed-race man in the uniform of the Allied forces was also shirking responsibility, saying that the doctors and emergency personnel were incompetent. It was a mess. It was not until the FBI came and took them away that the hospital was slightly quiet. Although in the United States, there are gun battles every day, the right to carry a gun is a legal right granted to citizens by the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, and no one is allowed to deprive it. But that is carrying a gun, not anti-tank rockets. Even though the dead patient's wife Minty kept saying that her husband just made a big gun. But the FBI obviously did not agree. It is now 1999, and the tragedy that shocked the world has not happened yet. But Americans are already very sensitive to attacks such as bomb explosions. There is no way, who let their country always mess around in the world and make countless enemies. Americans don't say it, but they know it in their hearts. How can they not be afraid of retaliation from others? This is New York, the economic and cultural center of the United States. The hospital that was almost bombed is one of the best hospitals in New York. With such a big commotion, the FBI will definitely investigate it strictly. Today you can easily synthesize rockets in the suburbs of New York, and you can also launch them shoulder-fired. Can't you just launch a terrorist attack tomorrow? Even if you don't want to, what if the stuff falls into the hands of real terrorists? They are afraid of getting serious about anything. As soon as the FBI got serious, Adam was also called in. When Adam came out of the operating room, a young and beautiful woman in a professional suit sitting at the door of the operating room stood up, pursed her dimples, which Adam liked the most, and held up her ID in front of Adam. "Dr. Adam Duncan, I'm Jesse Page, FBI. Do you have time? I have some questions to ask you. P.S. Thank you for the rewards from Yezik and Book Friend 201710150304014008. There was only one chapter at noon, and the other chapter was not finished in the morning. I will post it together in the evening. Please forgive me." Chapter 568. Gather 3 Peggies to summon the Dragon Medical Center. Outside the operating room, Peggy, Adam was startled and laughed in his heart. Foreign names are so funny. Peggy can be used as both a first name and a last name. The key point: the Peggies Adam met were all very beautiful, not to mention Peggy Adler, the ice girl who came to the mortal world. The Jesse Peggy in front of him is not only bright and beautiful, but also a dimple beauty. Juno's full name is Juno Peggy McGough. Another Peggy, if put together, It happens to be the first name Peggy plus the middle name Peggy plus the last name Peggy, all Peggy. But Adam is not some kind of explosive heavenly master maniac. He has no special preference for people with the same name, and naturally he has no idea of gathering 3 Peggys to summon the dragon. Any questions? Agent Jesse. Peggy looked at Adam in surprise. Nothing. Adam smiled. It's just that I know a lot of pages. Dr. Duncan. Are you here for the previous bombing? Adam interrupted. Let's talk somewhere else. Follow me. After that, he walked towards his office. Agent Jesse Page had no choice but to follow. Adam's office. That's right. Adam has his own office. Of course. He rented it from the hospital before the last nurses' strike. It is luxuriously decorated and fully equipped. It is very convenient for people who often use the hospital as their home. A female orthopedic resident at the medical center who used the hospital's vacant storage room as her room was envious of this and opened the door to a new world. She also followed Adam's example and rented a room, decorated it, and used it as her home. It was not only safer and more comfortable than the previous storage room, but also saved the time on the way to the hotel room. Anyway, there is a mine at home, so this little money is not a problem. Tea, coffee or drinks? After Adam sat down, he motioned Jesse to sit down too. The group of nurses on duty hired for Alice Gray next door came over early to ask for instructions. The boss is here, and the necessary services must be followed up. Adam is used to drinking tea, and the nurses know that this question is naturally from the guests. Thank you, but no. Jessie shook her head. Then she was stunned. But she saw Adam open a safe. The female nurse went over and took out tea leaves and high-end unopened bottled water, as well as a water heater, and put them on the table. Boiling water directly in front of her to prepare tea. People come and go in the hospital, so you must pay special attention to food safety, Adam explained. Jessie's eyes flashed with a look of you rich people are simply too afraid of death and are making a fuss. Adam smiled slightly. She is still too young and doesn't understand. No matter how safe it is, the necessary protective measures must be taken, not to mention that this is the dangerous United States. Adam didn't want to gamble whether his tongue could taste the poison, nor did he want to gamble whether his endurance could withstand the toxicity of the poison. Adam's apartment, hospital office, Peggy's apartment, old friend bar, all the places Adam often went to at that time, were stocked with a comprehensive range of antidotes and antitoxin serums. This was a decision Adam made when he occasionally recalled some news from his previous life. With a billionaire's fortune and such a great reputation, it is normal that there are always villains who want to harm me. It's always right to be more cautious. The scene was quiet for a while, and the conversation naturally had to wait until the female nurse left. Adam looked at the familiar beautiful agent out of the corner of his eye. Yes, she was the FBI agent who conducted a background security check on Howard in The Big Bang Theory. The dimples impressed Adam. Adam glanced at her left hand. There was no ring. That's right, there were still 10 years before Howard was checked. At that time, she would be in her 30s. And it would be normal to get married. But now she is only in her 20s. The husband of the future Navy SEAL who is 1.89 meters tall is probably not even here yet. What can I do for you? Adam said with a smile after the nurse finished making tea. This is what I mean. Jessie straightened up, picked up a pen and paper, and looked at Adam. Can you tell me in detail about the process of this bombing? Of course. Adam told him from his perspective. Of course. It is an absolutely objective perspective without any subjective thoughts. I see. Jessie scribbled something on the notebook, looked up at Adam, and his eyes became a little sharp. I have a question, Dr. Duncan. How do you know that this patient is in danger? And you also asked the patient's wife if there is a bomb in the patient's body. Intuition, Adam said in his heart. Here it comes. But he smiled calmly on his face. Intuition? Jessie showed a look of disbelief. Yes, Adam smiled and said, Agent Peggy, as people who have been dealing with life and death for many years, we have more or less some intuition about life and death and danger. If you don't believe me, go ask other doctors and nurses. Just like my colleague Meredith, she said this morning that she might die today, so she refused to come to work. You know, as interns, if the hospital did not force us to rest and maintain sufficient energy, we would all want to stay in the hospital like 007. If this inexplicable feeling was not too strong, how could she be unwilling to come to work? "What's the name of your colleague?" Jessie picked up the pen again. "Dr. Meredith Gray." Adam smiled and said, "Her colleague and roommate, Dr. George O'Malley and Dr. Liz Stevenson." Couldn't persuade her. In the end, it was Meredith's best friend and colleague, Dr. Christina Yang, who stepped in and brought her to the hospital. She was proved to be right. If I hadn't sensed the danger in advance and prevented the patient from entering the hospital, according to normal procedures, the patient would be sent to operating room number 3, which is next to the hospital's oxygen device center. If there is an explosion there, the entire hospital will be blown away. As a doctoring side, there is a high probability that Meredith will die. Do you accept this intuition? I'll talk to her. Jessie did not comment, but the doubt in his eyes dissipated a lot. Still don't believe it? Adam took a sip of tea and said with a smile, "Let me tell you one more thing. This morning, the surgery schedule board in our corridor was sparsely populated, not as full as usual. Our chief of surgery, Dr. Richard Weber, chief of cardiothoracic surgery, Dr. Preston Burke, and chief of neurosurgery, Dr. Derek Shept, walked to the operating board and exclaimed at the same time, 'Oh no, something bad is going to happen today.' This is their intuition, as experience told doctors. And it turns out that their intuition is right, isn't it?" Jessie was speechless and could only quickly write down every name Adam said and ask about them one by one afterwards. But this kind of thing is generally impossible to lie. It's too easy to verify. She believed Adam's explanation of his intuition, but she complained in her heart, "Damn it, what kind of hospital is this? How come so many doctors have such amazing intuition?" Chapter 569, Tribute to the Medical Center with Broken Legs. Adam's office. "Then why don't you ask the patient's wife directly about the bomb?" Agent Jesse Page already believed that doctors had some kind of magical intuition about life and death dangers, and that the doctors in the medical center were particularly exaggerated, but she still pressed on. "Are bomb attacks unfamiliar in the United States?" Adam asked back. "When a patient has a big hole in his chest, and a hand is sticking inside, and it gives you a very strong sense of crisis, I don't know what you think of first, but the only thing I can think of is a bomb." Jessie thought about it and was speechless again. This logical reasoning seems to be fine. In 1995, there was a major terrorist attack in the United States. 3 criminals used a bomb with a very large equivalent to blow up the entire federal government building in Oklahoma City. The reason is also very sad. These 3 people are all soldiers. The leader, not surprisingly, had divorced parents when he was young, had an unfortunate childhood, lived a depressed life, and had a special admiration for epic heroes since childhood. When he grew up, this admiration was transferred to the real American soldiers. So, with a yearning for heroes, he joined the army during college. The heroic temperament cultivated since childhood made him an extremely good soldier, protect the weak and fight for the people. This is his belief, but over time, the masters in the Special Administrative Region wantonly interfered in military affairs and constantly destroyed the sacredness of the army in his heart. When he was on the real battlefield, he looked at the innocent people of other countries who fell under his own artillery fire, the cities bombed into ruins, and the helpless women and children everywhere. This made him feel extremely guilty and angry. Of course, Adam guessed that the more important reason was probably that the god of war returned but did not get the honor and treatment he deserved. He developed a revenge mentality. That's why he planned this sensational explosion. There were countless casualties during the period. The sky-high flames brought by the violent explosion swept through nearby buildings, blocking the escape routes of many civilians in nearby buildings, and the debris falling from high altitude plundered the lives of innocent passers-by. This kind of cruel thing is not an isolated case. Guns and bullets can also kill people, but compared with bombs, it is completely insignificant. As an American, how can you not be afraid of bomb explosions? In daily life, it is common sense not to joke about guns and bombs, because Americans will take it seriously. Maybe they will call the FBI immediately, and then the classic scene will appear. FBI open the door. When hearing the sound of firecrackers, Americans will either squat down with their heads in their hands or run away. It takes time for ice to freeze 3 feet thick. It is not easy to develop a habit. Not to mention that the whole nation is used to it, which is not something that can be formed in a day. Later, this habit even spread to the homes of my younger brothers abroad. In his previous life, Adam saw a video in which a senior African American official came to the East Country. When the firecrackers sounded, the retreat movement was so smooth. The situation just now. Agent Jesse Page thought about it carefully. If she were in his place, she might also think of human bombs or something. Okay, I'll talk to them one by one. After the suspicion was reasonably explained, Jessie closed the notebook and stood up to leave. She knew Adam's identity. Before she came here, her boss had clearly told her to conduct a soft questioning. After all, a well-known best-selling author, the youngest self-made billionaire, was not a nobody that the FBI could suspect and investigate at will. This questioning was also a routine matter, because apart from the fact that Adam suspected a bomb at the beginning, which was a bit puzzling, Adam had no problem with anything, whether from the process or the result. In order to avoid Adam's disgust, her boss specifically asked her, a rookie, to come here to go through the formalities. Well, of course, her appearance was the most important reason. A beautiful woman asked a routine question, even if the question was a little over the line. Adam, as a man, would not care about it. This was all a routine, do you know? Adam also stood up, put his hands on the desk, and wanted to take off his glasses, but unfortunately he didn't have them, so he could only shake his hands and look at her with a squint. You did a good job. Okay. Jessie stopped and looked at Adam in surprise. I'm serious. Adam straightened up, walked in front of Jessie with a step that didn't recognize any relatives, and leaned against the desk with one hand. He pointed at Jessie and said with a slutty expression and tone, "You are beautiful, do you know that?" Jessie crossed his arms and looked at Adam quietly. "You are young, unrestrained, and full of vitality." Adam was in a good mood and couldn't help but imitate Leonard's slutty operation when facing Agent Jesse Page in the original Time and Space. "I will pick you up at 8 o'clock and take you through an unforgettable night." He wanted to see if the same words, the same tone and expression, the same person, and the same tricks learned by Leonard would really work. "It sounds good." Agent Jesse Page smiled with a pair of dimples. But what? Adam was not as surprised and ignorant as Leonard. From her eyes, he knew that this routine was useless, so he retracted his salute, returned to normal, and smiled slightly. "No buts," Jessie said with a half-smile. "If you don't mind me bringing my best friend along, I'd be happy for you to take me on an unforgettable night." "Oh, no, take both of us together, Tilda." Adam's mouth twitched. If it was Leonard and the others, they would definitely ask really, in surprise at the first time. But who is Adam? Of course, he couldn't be fooled by such an appearance. He immediately realized that there was something wrong. It's likely that Adam knows Jessie's best friend. "I was joking." Adam didn't stupidly ask who her best friend was, but laughed directly. "You took it seriously. This is a trick that a friend of mine likes to play. I was just curious whether this trick would work, so I tried it. It seems that my opinion is right. This trick really doesn't work." "Really?" Jessie's eyes were full of sarcasm. "Which friend of yours?" "You don't know him." Adam naturally couldn't say Leonard. Haha. Jessie realized that he had seen through Adam's trick of making friends out of nothing, and sneered. "Kate is right, you are indeed a bastard." After saying that, he turned around, turned the doorknob, and left. "Kate." Adam grinned. As a flower in the New York Police Department, it is not strange for him to know the beautiful rookie of the FBI New York branch. But Kate said something to Jessie behind Adam's back that Adam didn't know. "Well, anyway, it won't be good." This made Adam speechless. If he had known earlier, he would not have paid tribute so casually. Now it's good. With today's incident, no matter what bad things Kate made up about him, in Jessie's eyes, it is true, his reputation is damaged. No, I must make it clear to Kate tonight. No, I want Kate to explain to him clearly why she maliciously slandered him behind his back. No one can hurt him and not pay the price. No one. Chapter 570, Dragon Adam Medical Center. Nightfall. Dressing room. "Let's go to the old friend bar tonight." Adam walked in, smiling and inviting us while changing his clothes. Did I hear it right? Liz shouted exaggeratedly. Is this Adam Duncan inviting us? You must have heard it wrong. Meredith agreed. That's impossible. Yeah, George nodded. It seems that we are all hallucinating and hearing things because of the bomb. Christina smiled while changing her clothes. Drinks are free tonight. Adam looked at Meredith with a smile. What do you mean? Meredith said unhappily. Am I an alcoholic in your eyes? Haha. Adam was not the only one laughing, but everyone laughed. Well, even if I like to drink a little. Facing the laughter of the crowd, Meredith said with a lack of confidence. Do you think I am greedy for your wine money? I can't afford it. Of course I can afford it. That's not the point. Adam laughed. The point is that we have escaped death today. We must celebrate. You can pay then. Why? Meredith immediately quit. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed again. Meredith inherited Alice Gray's property, and it was inevitable that she would have a small fortune. She is now an intern, and most of her time and energy are spent on internship. The last time her nails scratched the patient's heart, it also sounded a wake-up call for her, so she has rarely drunk. Otherwise, with her alcoholism, if she really let go and drank, the family property might not be enough for her to drink like this. It was really dangerous today. After laughing, George sighed. Adam, how are you so awesome? Liz looked at Adam. Not as good as Meredith. Adam smiled reservedly. I only feel it when I encounter danger, but Meredith can sense it a few hours before the danger happens. What is this? This is the highest realm of the truth that can be predicted before the autumn wind blows. Of course, to be more precise, Heaven, editor, Dow, drama, gives the protagonist a warning. After this incident today, Adam is sure that Meredith is the absolute protagonist. Although Christina is treated as a Mary Sue heroine, she is definitely not as good as Meredith in the C position. There is no other reason. She has no crisis warning at all. I would rather have your ability, Meredith complained. My feeling is vague and I am not sure at all. Otherwise Christina and the others would not be able to pull me out of bed and come to the hospital. Unlike you, you dare to prevent seriously injured patients from being admitted to the hospital just by feeling and knowing nothing. Haha. Adam smiled without saying anything. Let's go. Let's go to the old friend bar. Liz changed her clothes and waved her hand. Everyone stood up and left together. The old friend bar was right next to the medical center, only a few steps away. There was no need to drive, just walk there. Joe really shouldn't have offended you. After leaving the hospital building, Christina glanced at the rather deserted Joe's bar across the street and said leisurely. Everyone followed her gaze and looked over. Adam, you really have a strong desire for revenge. Liz sighed. What kind of revenge is this? Adam shook his head. If it wasn't for a place very close to the hospital for a party with friends, saving me time to leave the hospital, I wouldn't have thought of this at all. It was just a matter of convenience. You did this matter of convenience, and Joe's business collapsed directly. Liz couldn't help but said, I heard that Joe is ready to close this bar that has been open for more than 10 years, sublet it, and find a new place. I don't know what to do in the future. Joe is a good person. Meredith couldn't help but say. So? Adam shrugged and said, when you save someone first, and then that person stabs you in the back, it's fine if you don't retaliate. But do you still want to be friends with him and support his business? Everyone was speechless. They were colleagues with Adam and knew the whole story. If they put themselves in his shoes, even if they didn't save Joe from the car that hit them at the beginning, but as Joe's attending physician, they should have been able to participate in the famous immobilization surgery. But Joe directly gave the quota to someone else, and they couldn't accept it at all. At least they won't go to his bar again. Even if Joe's fat face is friendly, most of them will be angry. Going to the bar is to drink and relax to relieve stress. How can you get angry yourself? Why think so much? Adam smiled and said, I'm not targeting him. We are all doing business, market economy, fair competition. He can attract the original customers back if he has the ability. Everyone's mouth twitched. Did you listen to what people said? You are a capitalist who is not short of money, and you compete fairly with a small trader like Joe. It's really ridiculous. Even if Joe has business acumen, business experience, and tries his best to innovate service models, He can't resist your massive capital. He will be acquired or copied by you, and directly squeezed out by more capital and lower prices. The key is that Joe has offended you. He has no chance to be acquired by you, join you, or work for you. When you decided to sell, the end of Joe's bar was doomed. If Joe's bar goes bankrupt, then the old friend bar will monopolize the bar market in this area. Christina looked at Adam with a squint. You won't raise the price secretly by then, will you? Hiss. Liz took a breath of cold air and said in shock, it's true. The brave boy who slays the dragon eventually becomes the evil dragon. Monopoly is the cancer that corrodes the brave boy. It seems that I have to drink a lot tonight. Meredith agreed. I must drink it back, otherwise Adam will become the evil dragon in the future, and we, the bar consumers, will definitely be sucked blood by him unknowingly. Unknowingly? Christina said leisurely. What if he sucks your blood openly? Do you have a chance to resist? We are fine. At worst, we won't drink. But you can't. Drinking is your basic need. What do you mean drinking is my basic need? Meredith retorted weakly. Well, even if I like to have a drink, I can buy a drink at home by myself. Come on. Alone? Liz hit the nail on the head. Meredith was speechless. The same type of wine? The wine in the bar is several times more than the one in the nearby store. Even so, people are still flocking to it, queuing for a long time, and even giving money to the doorman to get in. Is it really for drinking? Of course not. It's for making friends and having fun in the bar. Shu Renju said. If it is not restrained, the most eye-catching things will be infinitely converged to pornography, gambling and drugs. Wine is a medium for sex. Of course not. Adam interrupted with a smile. That's the way ordinary capitalists play. I'm not a capitalist. Opening a bar is just a matter of convenience. Well, to build a place for friends to relax. Do I need this little money? He almost let it slip. Although Adam will not raise the price, but the old friend bar will be the only upscale bar near the medical center, and the traffic will definitely increase greatly. For him who wants to make connections in the medical field, traffic is everything. As long as everyone comes, recognizes the concept of the old friend bar, and regards Adam as a friend, then Adam's future in the medical field will be as wide as possible. P.S. There is only one chapter at noon and 2 chapters at night. Please forgive me. Chapter 571 The Versailles Life of the Rich. Old Friends Bar. Dr. Duncan. Dr. Duncan. Dr. Duncan. As soon as Adam entered, everyone who saw him greeted him warmly. The explosion this morning was naturally the center of gossip. If it weren't for Adam's terrible consequences, it would have spread with the analysis of the most understanding nurses and other supporters. The colleagues in the medical center who were scared were particularly enthusiastic about Adam, which was also natural. Let's toast to Dr. Duncan. Cheers to Dr. Duncan. Someone started to make a fuss, and everyone echoed, let's have a drink and have fun. Adam naturally wouldn't refuse. He raised his glass and drank a glass with everyone. He said something and went to his friends. 2 tables. Chandler, Monica, Rachel, Ross, Phoebe, and Joey were at the same table, and there was an extra Ant-Man. This is Phoebe's new boyfriend, who looks very similar to the male protagonist in the movie Ant-Man, but he is much younger. Matthew, Lily, Ted, Barney, and Robin were at the same table, and there was an extra girl. She looked like Ted's biological sister. Christina and her group were arranged by Adam to sit at a table on the other side. The 3 tables were Adam's 3 main circles of friends in New York. However, due to the awkward experience of getting together in the past, Adam deliberately arranged their seats in different corners to avoid being crowded together and awkward. Christina and her group were together every day. After Adam arranged for them, he left directly. The first to go were naturally Chandler and Monica. Chandler, sit down for a while, and then I will accompany Monica back. Adam reminded, pregnant women should be very careful in the first 3 months. I know. Chandler nodded. Don't worry. Monica smiled and said, I'm not that fragile. Besides, you don't know how much Chandler cares about his child. Now he is the boss and gives me orders every day. Did you hear that? Adam smiled pointedly. Of course I did. Monica shouted, if you don't believe me, ask Chandler. If we agree, listen to me. Chandler said faintly, if we disagree, listen to her. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed. Phoebe, who is this? Adam looked at the young Ant-Man sitting next to Phoebe. This is my boyfriend Mike. Phoebe introduced them to each other. Mike, this is the Adam I've been telling you about. Hello, hello. Adam and him greeted each other and smiled. Mike, do you like Marvel comics? Mike was stunned. I've read a little. I think you can take a look. Adam smiled and said, there is a superhero Ant-Man in it, who can control countless ants, fly into the sky and hide in the ground, and save mankind. Phoebe once said that in a few decades, the Earth will be ruled by ants. Maybe you can be this Ant-Man. Wow. Phoebe clapped her hands as always. Good idea. Mike, let's dress up like this for Halloween next year. You will be the superhero Ant-Man, and I will be your flying ant. Adam's mouth twitched. What he said. Do you know how Ant-Man controls ants? An old driver is an old driver. This is a public display of affection. Okay. Mike, who is still a young boy at this moment, looked at the beautiful big sister Phoebe lovingly. I will go to see the story of Ant-Man. Next year, our Halloween combination will definitely surpass everyone. Yeah, Phoebe laughed happily. Adam, Monica and others looked at each other and saw each other's relief. This friend who is the most eccentric, the most funny and the most difficult in life seems to have finally found his own happiness. Although I don't know how old Mike is, it's not easy to ask who is older between Mike and Phoebe, but Adam feels that Phoebe is definitely older. This kind of unlimited pampering by a handsome young boyfriend from a wealthy family is definitely the ultimate happiness that countless leftover women dream of. From then on, when Phoebe talks about her past misery to win sympathy, Adam and others can finally complain and interrupt without scruples, and no longer have to worry about hurting Phoebe's feelings. Phoebe's tricks used to make people speechless and helpless. For example, Rachel's baby shower. It was originally organized by Monica and Phoebe was responsible for inviting guests, but she forgot the most important person, Rachel's mother. When Rachel got angry, Phoebe said pitifully, I don't have a mother, so I often forget. There were many such things. Adam and the others actually understood Phoebe, because this is a way for Phoebe to attract everyone's attention. It's just that when it happens too many times, it's a bit hard to describe. But now it's okay. From now on, if Phoebe does this again, she will be ruthlessly complained about. Stop it, you've had enough, save it, etc. Being hurt by everyone, it doesn't matter. Go hug your superhero Ant-Man boyfriend and cry for comfort. If it's more serious, you can drag your Ant-Man boyfriend to Blacken and work hard to rule the world. After all, when people start to struggle and find their own sense of existence and direction, they don't have so many messy thoughts. Who will take care of Emma? After caring about Phoebe and her Ant-Man boyfriend, Adam looked at Rachel again. My mom. Rachel sat there enjoying herself. It had been more than a month since Emma was born. She had thought that the pain of childbirth was the most difficult, but who would have thought that taking care of a child would also be difficult? It seemed that Emma was crying in her ears at any time. No wonder so many pregnant women get depressed after giving birth. She had thought that she could try taking care of the child before, but she didn't last for a few days. Fortunately, she has a mother. There is only one good mother in the world. Mrs. Green hired a nanny for her, who was a very good one. The scene of taking care of her granddaughter was like this. I miss Emma. Bring her here for me to hug. Mrs. Green, who was dressed elegantly, clapped her hands when she thought of her granddaughter. The nanny automatically sent the clean Emma to Mrs. Green to tease her for a while and enjoy the family happiness. When Mrs. Green had enough fun, or when Emma was hungry, vomited, urinated, and started crying, Mrs. Green immediately handed her baby granddaughter to the nanny who had been waiting for a long time. Ask the nanny to take Emma to the bedroom to change clothes and tease her, and don't disturb her. Of course, Mrs. Green would sometimes considerately leave home to go shopping, letting her precious granddaughter do whatever she wants, and out of sight, out of mind, out of hearing. After divorcing Leonard, Mrs. Green, who took half of Leonard's property that he had worked hard for most of his life, and even almost split Leonard's favorite sailboat in two and took half of it just to disgust him, is truly financially free and carefree. Now she is so happy to have her grandchildren in her arms. that others envy her. Rachel initially rejected and criticized this way of raising children by rich people, thinking that it would weaken the feelings and connection between parents and children. After all, raising a child with a lot of shit and piss, can it be the same as raising a child with yun? But it smells so good. Chapter 572, Chasing the Dream of the Entertainment Industry. Old friends Bar chatted with Rachel and the others about Emma. The topic turned to buying a house. Adam, we are going to buy a house in the suburbs. Monica smiled while touching her belly. That's great. Adam smiled and said, do you need my help? No. Chandler continued, it's still several months before the baby is born. We have enough time to find a house we like. Also leave a loft for Joey? Adam teased. Yes. Chandler smiled and nodded. Joey? Adam looked at Joey, who was deeply moved. How are you doing recently? Have you met the right one? If you don't find one, you will be the lonely and weird uncle in the eyes of Emma and the others. Come on, Joey shouted dissatisfiedly. I am Joey Tribbiani, the godfather of Emma and the others, and a TV star. I can only be the most handsome uncle. How can I be a lonely and weird uncle? The most handsome. Monica raised her eyebrows and said, are you sure? Adam met Joey's subconscious gaze and smiled reservedly. In Joey's eyes, it was like saying, yes, that's me. But he couldn't refute it. Rachel, what are you and Ross planning? Adam looked at Rachel. I think you should buy a house together with Monica and her family, so that the children of the two families can play together in front of and behind the house in the future. This is a happy life. Yes, Monica actively agreed. Rachel, don't you think this is good? I don't know. Rachel hesitated and said, I like the life in high-rise buildings in the city. It's more convenient. Otherwise, it takes a lot of time to go back and forth to work every day. But it's not good for children to live in the city as in the suburbs. Monica advised. There are so many cars coming and going outside, and so many strangers. Do you dare to let the children run around? I think the suburbs are good too. Ross said, we all grew up in the suburbs since we were young. Let's talk about it later. Rachel did not comment. The nature of her job determines that she prefers to stay at the forefront of fashion, and the metropolitan area is the most basic requirement. If possible, she even wants to move directly to Paris. If you ask me, it would be best if we all buy a house together in the suburbs, Adam said with a smile. Phoebe, Joey, you can all consider it. When the time comes, I will also buy a house in your community and live there when I am free. It will be so lively. Otherwise, once we are not together, we will be busy with our own things and have almost no time to contact each other. That would be a pity. I forget it. Joey hugged Chandler. Anyway, Chandler's family has left me an attic for retirement, so I don't have to buy a house. Huh? Adam looked at him in surprise. Why, what do you think? With Joey's current wealth, it is still easy to buy a house in the suburbs. His job does not require him to stay in the city all the time. Since he is not planning to buy a house, it must be because even if he buys it, he probably won't live in it, and it is not worth paying property taxes every year. The others looked over thoughtfully. I just had this thought. Joey clapped his hands and pursed his lips. Rachel and Ross got married and had a daughter. Chandler and Monica got married and had a child. And Phoebe is now very sweet with Mike. It seems like I'm the only one left. Joey, Rachel and the other two cried out in pain. I've been thinking about it these days. Joey smiled. It seems that I don't have the chance to find my other half in a short time, like you, to form a happy family. So what should I do after you all leave? It seems a bit confused, but fortunately, I have figured it out now. Chandler and Monica left me an attic at home, which is my eternal support. So why don't I pursue my dream at this time? Your dream? Chandler was surprised. You mean? Yes, Joey smiled. You all know that I am an actor. I started acting before graduating from high school. I have always wanted to be an actor like Al Pacino. You are not bad, Adam teased. If you want this goal, you can achieve it many years ago. A little bit, ha ha ha. Everyone laughed. What? Ant-Man Mike didn't understand the joke. Phoebe immediately explained it to him. When she heard that Joey almost became Al Pacino's hip substitute, she couldn't help laughing. Stop joking. Joey also laughed, then waved his hand to interrupt everyone. Listen to me. I want to be the real Al Pacino, not his but substitute. Over the years, I have worked hard, but I have only been wandering around in the New York TV circle. Not to mention top movie actors like Al Pacino. Even among TV actors, I am also a nobody. If I leave the American TV series Days of Our Lives, I might suddenly go from being a leading actor to a nobody. In the past few years, I have also tried to transform, but this is not Hollywood after all, and there are so few opportunities. It's really not my turn. New York and Los Angeles are known as the two major cultural centers of the East and West in the United States. New York has Broadway. Los Angeles has Hollywood, although Broadway seems to be more elegant in terms of style. But Hollywood is conquering cities all over the world. The resources and opportunities provided by the two are completely incomparable. It was because of you guys in the past. Joey looked at everyone and said sincerely, I really can't bear to leave. Of course, I'm more unsure and dare not give up everything and go to Hollywood to start over, but now I want to try. Joey, Rachel and the others were reluctant to let him go. Have you really thought it through? Adam reminded. In fact, being a simple TV actor is not bad. You will be famous and there won't be so many things to fight for fame and fortune. Find a popular American TV series and keep acting. Save enough money and achieve financial freedom directly. Even if you don't act anymore, you can do whatever you want. As for your other half, you can take your time. Maybe you will meet him, her tomorrow and fall in love quickly. Then you can buy a house opposite Chandler's house and realize the dream life of the person you love most is by your side and your best friend lives opposite forever. You have been in the New York entertainment circle for many years, and the resources you have accumulated with great effort are also here. Now you are impulsive and abandon all this and run to Hollywood where you are unfamiliar with the place. There are only two possibilities. One is that you will become very famous and soar to the sky, but because you are too busy, you will drift away from Chandler and others. The other is that you get hurt and can't make it in Hollywood. When you come back, your original resources are exhausted. You are alone and middle-aged and can only live in the attic of Chandler's house. Two choices and three possibilities. You have to think carefully. Joey was stunned. Ideals are full, reality is skinny. The passion of pursuing the dream of the entertainment industry that had just been ignited was instantly cooled by Adam's words. Let me think about it. Let me think about it again. P.S. Thank you Yi Huang Hun for the reward. Chapter 573, Short is the original sin. Old friends bar. Adam's words made Joey want to quit again. The risks involved have always been Joey's biggest concern. He has not forgotten the painful experience when he played a handsome doctor and suddenly died, and then he couldn't find a job for a long time. Finally, he gave up his status and started acting again as an unknown supporting role. At that time, because his acting career was interrupted, he even lost his medical insurance. As a result, he got a hernia and couldn't bear the pain. But because the self-paid surgery was too expensive, he didn't dare to go to the hospital for treatment. He had to hold on until he found a job again and renewed his medical insurance before he had the surgery. That kind of bitterness is unforgettable. Joey, do you dream of becoming Al Pacino for fame or for money? Adam was a little concerned about the last single dog in the old friend circle, although he was also recognized by Chandler and others in the old friend circle. And he is still single now. Joey and others didn't count Adam when they talked about single dogs. I don't know either, Joey said blankly. It should be all of them. Yeah, Adam nodded and said, honestly, since you're pursuing fame and fortune in the entertainment industry, I don't think you will follow Al Pacino's path. Why? Joey was surprised and said, you may not know that Al Pacino is our idol in the entertainment industry. Many people dream of becoming the next Al Pacino in their lifetime. That's because their thinking is fixed. Adam reminded him, you are Joey, not Al Pacino, right? Besides, everyone else wants to do this, so why do you have to be the same as others? You are Joey Tribbiani. You should find a path that suits you best. The path that suits me best, Joey said in a daze. What path? Of course it's the American TV drama path. Adam smiled and said, I know that in your circle, movie actors look down on TV actors, and TV actors are extremely envious of movie actors, always feeling inferior. But is that really the case? In terms of investment and production, Movies are indeed far superior to TV dramas. In a short period of time, the fame and fortune brought to movie actors are indeed far greater than TV dramas. But you didn't notice it. A hit American TV series can be filmed continuously, telling the characters' personalities and growth from various perspectives. It is simply a vivid and legendary biography. Can the short duration of the movie do this? After 10 or 20 years, the newly grown audience will watch the beautifully made movies of that year and think that the picture effect is too poor. Who is the main actor? Look it up. He was very popular at that time. And then say, oh, and throw it away. Most of them are even too lazy to check. No matter how superb the acting skills of the actors in the movie are, the aspects and dimensions that can be shown are also severely limited by the plot and duration. Sometimes, short is the original sin. And what about the super long hit classic American TV series? Every inch longer is better. The duration is enough. The plot is rich and real, drawn from many hot events of the year, and it will still be very attractive after 10 or 20 years, or even generation after generation. It is also a good video material to use it as a historical textbook to show the characteristics of that era. The next generation can see three-dimensional characters in their minds and even feel that this is a person who has really lived. Many people will be interested in following the stories of these people. This kind of fame is better than movie stars, isn't it? Yeah, it seems so, Phoebe exclaimed. It turns out that there are such benefits in filming TV series. It has to be a classic American TV series. Joey shook his head. No. Adam smiled and said, classic American TV series are not good enough. Classic sitcoms are the best. Humor and comedy will fade away much more slowly. Moreover, classic sitcoms are about the daily lives of the protagonists. They are particularly good at enriching the three-dimensional image of the characters from all angles. This is a typical character-driven plot. This is something that other classic American TV series that drive characters do not have. I only said before that classic American TV series can bring you fame far beyond the movies in a wider time perspective. So what about profit? Profit? Joey was stunned. You won't say that acting in classic American TV series can bring me far more income than movies. This is impossible. Why is it impossible? Adam asked back. In the entertainment industry, fame and profit are bound together. Fame brings profit. Acting in classic American TV series has brought you wider fame in a wider period of time. Why can't it bring you wider profit? But Joey still felt that something was wrong. It really broke his traditional thinking. How many aspects of your income are there? Adam asked. Film pay, advertising, and commercial performances. Mainly these three. Joey said. No, you forgot about the peripherals of the film and television. Adam reminded. What we are talking about now, all the fame and fortune, are centered around a classic American TV series, which is the most important thing. Film pay, advertising, and commercial performances are all temporary. Only the peripherals of the film and television series that are closely centered around the classic American TV series can provide you with a steady stream of generous income. Peripherals? Don't be ridiculous. That's impossible. Joey laughed. This is the fact that the film and television companies value the most. How can they share it with the actors? Why not? Adam also laughed. Imagine that a classic sitcom is launched, and all the audience likes the leading actors. After a few seasons, changing one person may cause protests and the ratings will plummet. If two are replaced, it will be difficult to play. But what if several leading actors unite and force the film and television company to negotiate the peripheral share? Hiss. Joey took a breath of cold air. In that case, either they will break up or the film and television company will give in. And it will most likely be the latter, because no one will go against the interests. If all the leading actors stop acting, the show will be directly ruined, and the subsequent peripherals will be empty talk. But the premise is that several leading actors can unite. Chandler shook his head and said, in this situation, film and television companies usually split up and disintegrate. Once one person is persuaded, the rest will surely fall apart. Human nature is selfish and it's very difficult. This requires someone to be alert. Adam smiled and said, Joey can tell everyone the inside story, and even reduce his salary to unite everyone. Believe me, a temporary salary reduction is not worth mentioning compared to the annual peripheral share in the future. The annual peripheral operating income of a classic sitcom is something you dare not imagine. Joey, you fantasized about becoming Al Pacino, and at first you probably heard that he was paid tens of millions for a movie, right? But if you follow this method and tie it to a classic sitcom, even if you don't work in the future, the peripheral share you get every year will be better than the hard work of those movie bosses that you envy, and you can be them every year without doing anything. That's the real winner in life. Impossible? Everyone looked over and was stunned. Believe me, it's right. Adam smiled. In the future, it is already 20 years later, each of the 6 friends can still get $20 million per year in peripheral revenue. Can you imagine? At that time, how can Al Pacino compare with Joey, who is envious of whom? P.S. There is still only 1 chapter, 2 chapters in the evening. Please forgive me. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 574. I'm not targeting anyone. Old friends bar. Wow, I'm tempted by what you said, Phoebe exclaimed. Who isn't? Joey smiled bitterly. But it's good. But there is still a crucial problem. Where can there be such a TV series? I've been an actor for so many years, and I haven't even heard of it. Ah, you're lucky. Adam smiled. Have you forgotten who I am? Don't be ridiculous. Joey shook his head and said, I know you are a well-known writer, but writing novels and being a screenwriter are completely different things. And to write the kind of effect you said, even the top screenwriters need enough luck. To write a novel, you only need to have imagination and writing skills. But to be a screenwriter, you have to make sure that every sentence you write can be filmed. These are 2 completely different concepts. For example, those descriptions that like to use gorgeous words and phrases are very high-end when reading, but how to film them? A wicked smile can only be filmed to the level of the crooked-mouthed god of war, only evil but not charming. Of course, the full narration, saying that this is evil, enough evil and enough charm, is another matter. You will know when the time comes. Adam smiled wickedly. Note, this is really evil. This world is a comprehensive world of American TV series. Naturally, there is no such phenomenal American TV series as Friends. Yeah, there are no classic American TV series such as How I Met Your Mother, The Big Bang Theory, etc. Adam used to be too lazy to distract himself with these things. It doesn't matter if there is a little money. When the money reaches a certain amount, it is just a string of numbers. Adam really has no interest in money anymore. He doesn't even know how much money he has, and he doesn't care about it at all. This is not the kind of pretense that says he wants to make all the money in the world. But after the money is enough, it is not worth mentioning compared to the improvement of various attribute points of the system. Can money buy a life? Can money buy endurance? Can money buy wisdom? None of them. On the contrary, they can all. The difference is obvious. But now Chandler and Monica are going to have children and are about to move out of New York. Adam is the godfather of the children, so he naturally has to give them some gifts. What better gift is there than to let them be financially free at birth? That's right, Adam is ready to bring friends to the Friends world. Of course, Rachel and the others are past that age and can no longer play themselves. Although everyone has maintained themselves well, it is visibly that everyone is no longer as fresh as they were a few years ago. After all, they are all over 30. Westerners develop early and age quickly. Just like Rachel's second sister Amy said to Joey in a rough but reasonable way, "Hey, you are the one who played Days of Our Lives. Oh, the makeup artist really put too much powder on you." Youth is fading away, and it is impossible to completely cover it up by applying powder, lighting and beauty filters. Acting is not an option, but this is their story. They can get the story adaptation fee. As a friend, Adam will naturally not let them down. It's not as exaggerated as $20 million a year, but they don't have to do anything, don't even have to shoot, and everyone gets a few million a year. Isn't that good? This amount of money is not worth mentioning to Adam, but it's not good to give it directly. It's reasonable to do it this way. All Adam has to do is hire a top screenwriter team to act as a gun, come up with the character design and story outline, and shoot a few episodes first. Once it's on the right track, he can be a hands-off boss. The benefits here far exceed any investment. Achieve 10 small goals every year. Don't be too relaxed. It can be called a real cash cow. But Adam really doesn't care. Being too rich does not necessarily mean happiness. Chandler and Monica were neither rich nor poor before, and they had no worries about food and clothing, and their loving life was the happiest. If Joey hadn't gone to Hollywood to work hard and his future was uncertain, and Chandler and his family would have children in the future, and his daughter had to be pampered and not be deceived by some sugar daddy, he really wouldn't have thought of this. Adam, as a godfather, is also worried about it. Of course, in Adam's friend's story, the ambiguity between Rachel and Joey was gone. That is, the content of the last 3 seasons was condensed into 1 season, and 8 seasons would be enough. Joey was very familiar with this story. He could be a co-producer, assistant director, or assistant screenwriter, and complete the gorgeous upgrade from an actor to a higher-level screenwriter, director, or producer. If he really wanted to act, he could easily get a role with the connections he had accumulated from these high-profile identities, which would be 1,000 times better than him running to Hollywood alone to start over. After chatting with everyone for a while, Adam sent Chandler and Monica away. Monica was in her first trimester after all, so she had to pay special attention. Before Adam came, she had already sat with everyone and chatted for a long time. In fact, you can contact Matthew and Lily more in the future. After they get married, they will definitely move to the suburbs. I feel that you two should have a lot of common topics. Adam once again tried to connect the 2 best couples in his mind. If Rachel didn't want to, and Phoebe and Joey couldn't go in the short term, Chandler and Monica would be the only ones living in the suburbs, and they would definitely be a little lonely. Adam remembered that after Matthew and Lily got married, they bought a house in the suburbs. Because the purchase was sudden and they had no experience at all, they were cheated by a cunning real estate agent and bought a rubbish house with a large angle of the floor. Houses are also heavy assets in the United States. How can they change them whenever they want? In the end, they could only make the best of a bad situation and use the built-in angle. Matthew played skateboards with the children, but now there is no need. Adam thought about introducing Matthew and Lily to buy a house near Chandler's community. Who dares to cheat them? Ask Adam, a billionaire friend, if he is just a decoration. In the past, everyone was in 2 circles of friends and didn't contact each other on weekdays, so naturally they were not enthusiastic. But once they got married and had children and lived next door, with a hub like Adam, 2 couples with very good personalities would definitely become very good friends. This is also a good wish of Adam. Are you talking about them? Monica pointed over there with a strange expression. Huh? Adam looked over there and his mouth twitched. But he saw that at the table where Matthew and his friends were, there was a very large glass full of beer on the table. A group of people gathered around and watched Lily pick up the large glass. Matthew, the fiancé, raised his wrist, showing his watch, and made a standard timekeeping gesture. Begin. Lily picked up the big glass of wine and poured it directly into her mouth. Drink, drink, drink quickly. Ted and others cheered. Gulp, gulp. Lily didn't even take a break and drank the beer in the big glass in one breath. 10 seconds. Matthew shouted with laughter. Coo. Lily pressed the wine glass on the table domineeringly, burped, and laughed. See, everyone, this is drinking. Ted and the others pointed at Lily with both hands, indicating to the onlookers that this is the god of wine. They haven't married yet. Adam had to change the subject. Wait until they get married. Wait until they buy a house and prepare to have children. Lily is still so young and energetic, Monica exclaimed. I believe we will have something in common. Chandler smiled. I just hope they can get married and have kids soon, and move here so that everyone can have a companion. Soon, Adam smiled. They will get married in a few months, and with their clingy nature, they will relax their guard after marriage and have kids quickly. Well, let's put it this way. The days after your physical examination and before you get pregnant are just their normal daily routine. There is a reason why Ted repeatedly emphasized a series of apartment rules such as not to play tricks on the kitchen floor, Matthew and Lily were in a good mood and got intimate in front of Ted, a real dog food maker. "Did you hear that?" Monica squinted at Chandler, who was smacking his lips. "This is other people's basic operation. Don't blame me for forcing you." "I didn't." Chandler touched his thighs, which were a little soft again, and could only smile bitterly. Adam sent Monica and the others away and turned to the table of Lily, the god of wine, and the others. Chapter 575. Don't be a guarantor even if you're beaten to death. Old friend Bar. Adam. As soon as he got there, Lily and the others greeted him warmly. "God of wine, Lily," Adam teased. "That's nothing," Lily said proudly. "Ted, why don't you introduce me?" Adam looked at the extra woman at the table. "How do you know Heather is my sister?" Ted didn't finish his words and glared at Lily. "No need to say. Lily must have told you. Lily is a big mouth and has no sense of confidentiality. You told her a secret 1 second ago, and the whole world knows it the next second. If you don't let her say it, she will be suffocated to death. This is a skill. My aunt has perfectly inherited it." "It's not me this time," Lily cried aggrievedly. "It's really not Lily and I who told you this time." Adam smiled and said, "You have a lot of similarities in appearance." "Really?" Ted smiled. "Adam, let me introduce you. This is my sister Heather. Heather, this is Adam." "Hello, Heather." Adam smiled and greeted her. "Hello, Adam." After Heather greeted Adam, she complained to her brother Ted, "You have so many good friends. Why don't you tell me?" "You know the reason," Ted complained, and when Heather glared at him, he raised his hands in surrender. "Okay, I know you have grown up and matured. I won't say anything about you anymore. Now I will introduce you to each other. Adam is a doctor, and he has nothing to do with your financial career." "Who said that?" Heather retorted. "Doctors are all high-quality customers. Knowing one more person means one more network, and Adam is obviously not an ordinary doctor, right?" "How do you know?" Ted couldn't help it again. "Please." Heather looked at her brother sarcastically. "When an ordinary doctor comes in, will there be so many people around him and cheer for him?" Ted stared at his useless sister in amazement. Is this still his sister who steals, is good at nothing, and is the first in pleasure, and can't even figure out whether to push or pull the door? When did she become so smart? "My sister has grown up." At this moment, Ted's eyes were full of relief. "It seems that I did the right thing." "Oh?" Adam sat down next to Robin and asked curiously, "What did you do?" "Heather is going to New York to work hard. She needs someone to co-sign the lease in New York." Lily finally got a chance to speak. Ted didn't want to at first. Adam was thoughtful. Ted's sister was probably unreliable. Co-signing is actually a guarantee. In Adam's previous life, he had seen a lot of such things, and he actually understood that even if a relative asked for it, he couldn't do such a thing as a guarantee for the other party. Once the other party ran away or lied down and pretended to be a salted fish, the debt owed by the other party would fall on you, and the probability is not low. Adam had a classmate who was very righteous. Whenever his friends asked him for help, he would help them without hesitation. A few years after graduation, one of his good friends said that he needed a temporary turnover for his business and asked him to borrow some money for him. The amount was not small. He didn't have that much money, but his good friend asked for it, and he had always been doing serious business, with a booming business. This amount of money was a big number for him, but it was nothing for his good friend, and it was understandable that he needed it for temporary turnover. So at the request of his good friend, he borrowed a lot of money from relatives, friends and some acquaintances in the village who were lenders, and gave it to his good friend. He used the name of his good friend, and the IOU he signed was also a formal IOU written by his good friend, but he borrowed it in person, so there was no doubt that he was the guarantor. Otherwise, who would know who his good friend was? Then his nightmare came. After his good friend got the money, he didn't know what he did. I heard that he gambled and lost all the money. His business collapsed, and he ran away to another place, saying that he had to work to pay back the money. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years passed. He couldn't even see the other party. Every time he called, he just said, "I'm trying hard." Adam, this righteous classmate, was miserable. The money from relatives and friends can be delayed by being thick-skinned, but the borrowed money must be repaid, and it must be repaid as soon as possible. Otherwise the interest will compound and your life will be over. All the savings of the past few years were gambled away by good friends. He had nothing and started to work hard to make money. But working hard to earn money is not as fast as money making money. After working for 3 years, it was only enough to pay the interest. The girlfriend who was going to get married broke up as expected. Relatives and friends complained constantly. A man who was less than 30 years old, sunny and strong, lost dozens of pounds in 3 years, and his face was vicissitudes. Although it was not as bad as Zen Shien's second half of life, but the whole person was numb. When Adam traveled through time, it was said that he had also figured it out. He just lay there and said to the acquaintances who lent money in the village, "I have repaid the principal, but not the interest. I don't have money, but I have my life." They are all acquaintances, who doesn't know who. Seeing that Adam had been forced into this situation, the loan sharks were helpless. They had already charged high interest for 3 years, and if they continued to force him, it would become a bad debt, so they agreed to just pay back the principal. But even if it was the principal, with Adam's earning speed, he would not be able to pay it back without eating or drinking for 10 years. He was originally a good person with a good personality and strong ability. He found a good job right after graduation, and had a beautiful girlfriend who he had been dating since college and was about to get married. He was the object of envy of almost all his classmates. But now, because of his enthusiasm, he fell into the pit. This is the harm of being a guarantor for others, because you can never imagine what uncontrollable things the other party will do. Back to Ted's sister Heather. The lease requires a cosigner. In the United States, renting a house requires not only a cosigner, but also an annual salary of several dozen times the monthly rent, and a good credit record for 5 consecutive years as a guarantee. If it was just the non-payment of rent, it would not be a big deal for Ted. He was afraid that his sister Heather would do something bad in the house, such as damaging the house, which was not something Ted could easily deal with. And judging from Ted's appearance, his sister was probably not reliable. He was reluctant at first, which was reasonable. "Please," Ted complained, "can you blame me for this? She spent 6 years attending 3 universities, damaged 2 cars, experienced a 5-day marriage, and stayed in a tree for 9 weeks. Last time, she said she would transfer to New York University, but on the day of the admission interview, she secretly sold my TV and sofa. The TV alone was worth $2,000, and she took the money to fly to Spain to attend a concert." "Ugh," Heather yelled, "I thought they were going to cut down the tree. I was doing it for the environment." But no one wanted to cut down the tree. Ted was helpless. Adam had a hard time holding back when he heard this. Heather and Phoebe are a bit similar. Both are environmental fighters, and they do some ridiculous things. Staying in a tree for 9 weeks. From this point of view, it's even more powerful than Phoebe. It's really unreliable. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.